Be more stable.
Right.
9 o'clock, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda is approve the minutes of November 18th, 2024 is written.
I so move.
I'll second. Moved by Huguenin, seconded by McCurry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain. I was absent. Miscellaneous motions moved to authorize director chairman to sign 2 tax abatements in the amount of $930.70. I think you can see it's golf cart.
Yeah, one's a golf cart and one's a ranger that's put on the wrong person, so. Also move.
I'll second that.
Moved by Meeks, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next is moved to authorize director chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice for Jim Cole, Coffee County Sheriff's Corrections number 2, step change, grade change, hourly wage classification 30-5 to 35-3, wage of $20.61 to $21.05, effective 11/3 of '24.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Moved by McCurry, seconded by Knight. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I believe that concludes our miscellaneous motions. Mr. Tim Johnson, an obvious KNRC meeting update.
Good morning, Commissioners. The reason I'm in front of you this morning, the Kansas Natural Resource Coalition annual meeting will be December the 3rd. And I went last year, I think, to vote. But this year, I'm asking for permission, since it's 4 commissioners, to be able to go down and attend the meeting, mainly for the lobbyist. And being educated on there's going to be updating on the 30 by 30, and I believe the Cabrera refuge area out there, and the water issue. That got my attention.
Oh, no problem. That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, thank you.
Sounds like a good reason to go.
Yes,
So Tim, is that the one that's during KHC too?
correct. That is,
Okay, so they got an invitation to attend. Is that something that they can go to?
yes, they can go and attend while they're there, if it's just for an hour.
Well, that's what I think I'll probably do. I'll probably skip the first day of KAC and go to the KNRC. I think it's the first day, isn't it?
I don't even know what's on it.
It's in your,
Yeah, it's right here.
I need to let them know who wants to go to that, so.
Yeah, that's,
So what's on the agenda then for?
That's what I was trying to print off,
Okay, see? Yeah.
I've got it on my phone, but
let me see here. Event details, watch. So. Well, I can't find it right off here. I don't want to hold you up, but I'll try to find it, and then we can see.
Because I wouldn't mind going to the KNRC if there's not a lot of stuff on the agenda for
the first day.
the first day.
I really enjoyed it last year.
Out there.
There's a lot of issues there.
Looks like we've got a full agenda on the KNRC, so
Yeah.
maybe.
You'll get a lot of good information.
Yeah, I was really impressed.
Okay, I can tell you now.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, Tim.
So the 3rd is registration and voting delegates check-in. And then Wednesday is the Oh, it starts at 8:30, so there must be something that's not giving me detailed information though.
Normally their meetings don't start until the afternoon of that first day.
Yeah, I think so.
Sometimes there's pretty good topics there, sometimes there's.
Okay, so registration is 8:30, quarters to 5, and then 9 to 9:45 is a welcome reception for the first-time attendees. 10 to 11 is a education workshop, and then 11 to 12 is lunch, 12 to 1:30 is more educational workshop. So, I mean, even if you were to leave one of these, you probably could attend for an hour or so if you wanted to.
Might go ahead and register me for that KNRC.
Okay.
Throw 2 down, and if you go, you go, if you
Yeah.
don't, you don't.
Right.
Okay.
If that'll work.
I will do that.
Right.
Did you want to go? Okay. Great. Okay, so you might attend it, or, okay, so I'll go ahead and put 3 to 4. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. River City Construction.
Morning, gentlemen. Morning, Chair.
More access.
Yes. Like you don't see enough. I'll make it short and sweet. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I was feeling a little under the weather. I didn't come in here and risk getting you guys sick. But in the last 2 weeks, we've got the cells set on the south jail area where they being installed at. I didn't know if you guys had the pleasure of seeing any of that go down. It was a long day out there, but everything went smooth. Got them in. Sourage glass is outside on the exterior, putting the windows in. You can see them ongoing. They'll be here a couple weeks putting those in where they can. We've got those temporary openings where they won't be installed, but everywhere where they can install, they will be. Rooftop equipment, it was scheduled for this Wednesday. They had 2 units be delayed due to some circuit boards or something of that nature. So we pushed it till Monday, December 23rd to schedule around school time, so they're out of school and we don't disrupt any of the traffic over there. So as far as exterior, that's about it. They put in the natural gas line. Atmos was here last week, got that installed. We're going to finish up some storm sewer around the Sally Ford. We're supposed to hear from them last week. I did not. Hopefully either this week, into this week, well, I mean short week this week. So I'm going to plan on them next week finishing up that storm sewer out back. What else back there? Oh, I talked to the city of Burlington. We're going to get the transformer installed hopefully on Wednesday. I talked with Alan. He said they've got it in their shop. Everything should work out. So hopefully we get the power switched from temp power to permanent power. Should be a rather easy process. Interior wise, they're finishing up interior block in the sheriff's office area around the Sally Port. They're starting on some angled walls that separate pod A, B, and C. Now that the cells are in, on level 2, all the in-wall roughing is done. Plumbing, electrical, they're going to start insulating water lines, interior walls today, this week. We've got scheduled to, let's see, they're going to stock the sheetrock next Friday and start hanging on the 9th on level 2. So level 2 is coming along really well. We get done with that, we'll drop down to level 1, like our plan's always been, work out the building. So I mentioned before the meeting started, we've got temp heat coming next week to be installed. So hopefully we get the building heated, we'll start taping mudding after that's installed. So everything's moving along per schedule. So
What do you do for temp heat, natural gas, motors?
yeah,
generators?
we're going to run it off of Atmos. They're going to set us a meter, and then we'll run it straight off their line. So we'll have six heaters in there in different areas, so try to keep them guys going. Good. So, are we still on schedule for a tour today, or are we gonna push that?
I think with, Mr. Hugan needing to be gone at 2 o'clock, if everybody's good, I'd move it to next Monday.
Yeah, I'd be good with that.
Okay, next Monday, same time,
If that works.
Yeah, I think 11 o'clock.
11, okay.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
I'll make it work.
Okay.
It'd be warmer.
Well, it's not gonna be on yet, come Monday at 11, so.
Well, temperature might be warmer next Monday instead of,
No.
no.
I think Monday's supposed to be pretty chilly, I think next week's supposed to be pretty chilly.
Oh,
Don't say that, Woody.
Not gonna break my heart.
So, we'll just plan on, next week, Monday, if we gotta push it again, whatever.
No, I apologize.
No, it's fine, no
You
problem.
gotta make it doctor's appointments. It's important.
Completely understand, so. You guys got any questions for me?
You've got, the entry for the, for the sales is all boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
That'll take another week or two to get that brick, if the
We're
weather,
gonna leave
if
that,
the weather's good.
we're gonna leave that for now. If you look out there, I left an opening to get a forklift in and out.
I seen
Big-
you left the.
Bigger deliveries, so we'll close that in, you know, once everybody gets a lot of their bigger deliveries in. Once we frame that in, that brick's probably gonna be a remote. So we'll get an air barrier, we'll get it temped in, but, that brick section will be the last section we do. So I don't have a date on that yet. I just gotta work with the contractor to see, cause I don't.
I seen a bigger opening in the
The
box.
only other opening is coming in the front of the building, and that doesn't do us much, so there's gonna be quite a bit of stuff coming in that jail area.
Okay.
So just leaving that out for now. So, other than that, you guys good?
Good.
Good.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks for the update.
You bet.
Stay warm.
Oh, yeah, I will in my trailer.
All right. Emergency Management Director Amber, you're up.
Happy Monday.
Morning.
Tower update. Scott and Martin are continuing to work with Wade and Kenny. They just about have wrapped up all the land agreements, so then they can, go to the city council and get on the agenda and get all those signed and get everything taken care of. We have started receiving parts for the towers, and we're storing them out at our, landfill building. I did reach out to the owner of the tower at 25th and Homestead on rental of their tower. I'm still waiting for them to shoot me a price, so I did get a hold of them, just waiting on them. Regarding that, Scott did want me to remind everyone that we've already signed a contract with Motorola to build these towers, so if we do decide not to build, it will cost us to break that contract, so just something to throw out there. But I do know that when...
There's no reason to break it anyway, is there, that you know of at this time? The property you're in Leroy, how many acres is involved?
You would ask me that, wouldn't you?
When you get the tower and the cables and everything up? Or they got cables on?
I think they're freestanding.
They're freestanding.
They're freestanding.
Yeah, no cables. I believe, is it a 10 by 10 foot?
Yeah, I think they were 10,
Yeah,
12.
I think it's
12.
10 by 10
Yeah.
is what it is. Not very big. But when the radio committee did first talk about whether to build or whether to rent on towers, you know, we considered all the options, all the pros and cons on everything, so it wasn't taken lightly. We did have to have TFM-COM come and climb our tower out behind the courthouse. We found a large bracket on the ground below the tower, and we can only assume that it fell from the tower. It had held some equipment at some point, but it was either moved, meant to be taken off, or was loosened when we had our camera installed up on the top of that tower. Or it wasn't even tied at all. I don't really know what happened. There were some birds out there, maybe they did it. Our camera did show that there was a matching bracket just like it up there hanging, kind of swaying in the wind. So immediately we got a hold of the sheriff. He quarantined off the area, and we called TFM, and they were out here like the next day climbed the tower, checked all the brackets, checked all the screws and everything on everything all the way up the tower, and he removed the bracket that was just kind of swaying. I assume that was for some kind of antenna that we didn't use, and I don't know if they moved it when they put the tower up, or the antenna camera up there, or if they've just been up there this whole time hanging out. Either way, they're off, everything's safe, everything's good. We are going to have TFMcom come back next year and do a tower cleanup. So what they're going to do is they're going to trace all the cables from the tower clear into our radio room down in the basement. They're going to replace all the cables, they're going to check everything, and they're going to remove some more antennas and things that we don't really need. When the highway department went to the 800 megahertz system, we don't need their antenna up there anymore. Also wanted to let you know USD 244 reached out to us for permission to put a Wi-Fi microwave dish on our tower out back. Apparently the new jail building is blocking their wireless signal to their school board office downtown, so they need kind of a little lift up and pointed in the right direction. So we told them it was okay to put that on there since we're the reason that the signal's being blocked, but it won't interfere with our radio signal at all, and they're not putting it up that high, so we saw no problem letting them do it. Siren in Leroy is still down, but good news is that Goddard Sirens is coming this week, and it will be fixed, so that's good news. I did have a citizen reach out to me regarding Burlington Northern and Lebo. I don't know if you've heard any of this fiddle about the train tracks and stuff.
There's always a train across the pond going.
It's causing itself.
Well, no, so there's some people that live near the tracks, and they've been saying that recently, when trains go across on the westbound trains on the south rail, that there's a horrible hammering sound, and it's shaking their house pretty crazy. And it's not done that before, and they've lived here for years and years. They checked with their neighbor said the same thing, the person on the other side said the same thing. So they were reaching out to everybody to find out if they knew anything. So they contacted several people and couldn't get a hold of anybody at Burlington Northern. So they called me, I reached out, I did get someone to respond to me. They said there's a non-critical issue resulting in a slow order for the area. The reduced speed of the trains may be causing a change in noise and vibration. They have plans to address the issue in the next 2 weeks. I asked them to get back with me as soon as that was done. So hopefully the noise and the vibration will go back to normal once this work is complete. But, I mean, it's good to check out, and they probably should have put something out to the public when they were going to do that. Any change...
They don't have.
I know. But this went kind of crazy on social media, and I let them know that. And so I think just recently they did put something out, Burlington Northern, on their Facebook page. So.
Yeah, reading that, what I understood, that they came and worked on it and helped for a few days or a week or something,
and then it was
right back at it.
Yeah.
That's what I read.
Yep. So this resident, has reached out to them several times, and like you said, they came and looked at it or whatever. Burlington Northern says that their key routes are inspected 4 times a week, and some are inspected daily with lasers to track geometry and ultrasound to inspect the rails for any defects. So, since the trains are still running, but they're just going slow, I assume that, everything's okay. They haven't found anything yet, so. But I'm waiting to hear back from them on an update on that. But that was just a big concern from some of the Lebo residents. We're finishing up year-end reports, updating the Wolf Creek procedures, Woodson County plan, and we'll start our inventory audit soon. That's all I have. Any questions, comments, happy thoughts?
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Huh?
Have a good
Thank you,
Thanksgiving.
thank you. Oh, and thank you guys for helping with the Thanksgiving dinner the other day. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
It's good to get everybody together. Okay.
Thank you, Amber.
Thanks, guys.
Amber.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Road and Bridge Superintendent Ryan, you're up, sir.
Get on the basketball team.
Full, about a quarter way full.
Your hands gonna be tired after that one, so. Good morning. Don't have too much today. One call out this weekend for a stop sign over around Waverly. So that was the only call out we had. Just a couple discussion points. Old 50's back open. More or less done with most of the stuff there. We are, still a couple pieces of guardrail that's gonna be installed yet. They weren't in the original plan, so we looked into about a change order and adding, it all has to do with the, clear zone off the edge of the asphalt. It's a certain amount of feet, less than 18 feet, it required guardrail, and anything beyond that didn't, but.
I was asked, why was there guardrail?
Yeah, but
on one side
it
and not the
needs
other?
to be on both sides. I think there was a 1.5 foot difference if you put a tape measure on it, and so, but we're gonna add that, and then there's one culvert there just east of, Caffer that didn't have guardrail on it between there and the cemetery, and we're gonna add that in there too, cause it's essentially 15 foot from the edge of the road to drop off, so,
Heard lots of good comments about it.
yeah, it's a nice road. I think that's it on that. I know we still got, go through our final punch list on a few miscellaneous seating items, stuff like that, they still gotta do yet, so.
They have to do some seeding, are they?
Yeah, so, still some of that.
Just trying to do that, right?
No, they'll try to get it done now. Yeah, I met a guy up there last week on the seating, and we kinda hammered out the spots for sure, what needs it, so. I know it's still a little wet in the ditches for them to be working without making a total mess, so hopefully they'll get it done before it's too frozen.
I noticed some people have already tried to test out the shoulder after the shoulder was laid down.
Yeah,
And sunk into the.
yeah, some of that, it was wet when we were trying to get that, when they were trying to get that shoulder done, so there's still some compaction that needs to take place there, and weather dependent, we needed it back open, so, if there's a little work that we need to dress up the shoulders a little bit, we can do that ourselves,
Yeah, so.
so.
And that's really helped out, and then Franklin County from county line on is really nice.
Yeah, I haven't been down that stretch yet, but I knew they had,
They've done a lot of work,
yeah.
sure improved that stretch too.
Good.
Does that just go, like, to stop at Williamsburg, or
No,
do they go?
That goes on to, I'm not sure where it ends at, but it goes
Okay.
all the way through. Anyway, to the, 5 Mile Corner.
Okay,
So,
Richmond Corner, is
Yeah.
that? Yeah, Richmond.
Yeah.
Richmond Corner.
all right.
Been that way.
That's nice.
Yeah, the motor grader we have sitting in Levo, we got a new blade operator there, that Nathan Hollinger. So we'd like to move that blade out to his house. We'll be there, Capitol Road, 22nd. Just some benefits, to having it there. It'd help us on our response time when we get called out for trees and stuff. Right now, we got a blade sitting in Lebo and Neustron. So a lot of times we have to go there, report them blades, and then go take care of tree stuff. Wintertime, snow removal, we'd be parking a blade at his house anyway, just for responding to that. Basically, it's gonna be a mile out of the territory, which isn't uncommon. We've got a few of our other blades that are a few miles out of the territory, but the convenience, very beneficial for us. So if you guys are okay with that, I'd definitely like to do that. A little bit of prep work that goes in on that. We need to add a little rock down for a pad, place to park the fuel tank and park the blade.
Electricity gonna have to be ran, or is there electricity already?
We'll have to run a short stretch from the power pole, just to bury it, so we're not running a cord.
To the fuel
Across
tank.
there, for the fuel tank and for the heater on the blade, yeah.
Are we paying rent up there for the city?
We pay utilities, we're no rent.
Okay.
We pay electric fee there for utilities. I think that's the only thing we pay at that location. Yeah, if you guys are okay with that, I'd like to move forward.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be a meter drop on that pump and for the fuel tank and the block heater
As far as,
at the residence?
so at the residence, so like, as far as how do we pay for that, or what? Yeah, so we have a set, you know, we've got, an average that we pay to the blade guys that park at their house, and I forget what those numbers are. We pay, it's a 1-year fee, and we basically just pulled what it cost us for the city of New Strong, city of Lebo, city of Gridley, and that kinda tells us how much, tells us how much electricity we pull, and so we reimburse it. It's a few $100s a year.
Better to have another
It'd be
meter.
worth that to have the convenience for us.
No, that's it. So,
I just know it's gonna be more expensive out in the country than it is in town
yeah,
for the electricity.
so, all right, yeah, we'll move forward with that then. Appreciate it. That's really all I had.
I see your widening projects out for bids.
Yeah, 75, sorry, the turning lane's on 75, yeah, it's out for bid right now, so I think it's another 2 weeks before the bid opening on that.
Yes.
So we'll get that back and, yeah.
How many are involved?
There's 5 intersections, yeah, there's 2 south of town, 7th Lane and 8th Road, and then, right here at the stoplight going north by Dollar General, so there'll be a turn lane, extension going north there, and then, I believe it's
Road
15th,
to the landfill, is that it?
yeah,
North of the river?
15th Road, and then 22nd Road,
Yeah,
Oh,
22nd.
so,
That'll help, that'll help.
yeah, that's gonna increase the safety so much on,
Yeah.
especially 22nd, that's a lot of bad accidents there.
I
so.
read through the drawing, they do a sidewalk from Dairy Queen over to
Yep,
PG, which help.
yeah,
I think
that's,
will help immensely.
that's been needed, I don't know how many times I've seen, especially, I mean, there's no good way to get a wheelchair down there to
No.
Dollar General, so I've seen them right along 75 there in that lane, and, yeah, no, there'll be a new sidewalk as part of that project,
Right.
tying into Dairy Queen's sidewalk, and then gets down into Dollar General, so that'll be a great
plus.
benefit.
Good.
Yep.
So 22nd, off 70, I mean, all the off 75 north here. If I remember correctly, those are just gonna be deceleration and acceleration.
Yeah.
Which is a lot like what we have at Wolf Creek
Correct.
intersection.
Correct.
Which I've seen many, many times. People use that as a freaking
Well,
passive lane.
You can, because Roney talked about that here last year, and that they are
They're legal.
considered passing lanes as well.
Man, that is very, very.
Better,
That's absolutely
better be
right.
watching what
Yeah,
you're doing.
sure.
He issued somebody a ticket for illegal passing when he got, after court, it's like, no,
Uh-huh.
you passed that.
It's just I've seen people about get smoked at the Wolf Creek intersection.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Going to go turn left and somebody's turning right and somebody's going
No, right.
southbound and they pass the
Yeah.
ones turning to Wolf
Yeah.
Creek.
That must be nice to have longer lanes.
I don't know, it's sure help 22nd.
Yeah, I just seen that pop up here, whenever.
Yep. So that one's been in the works for a long time.
Good.
I figured to go through KDOT though.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny project. I mean, KDOT's, it's part of it, but it's actually a county project that we're getting some KDOT funds for it.
Oh, okay. Alright.
I think we received, getting $1 million from KDOT,
Right.
on that project, and we're gonna have about the same cost in it, I believe, but, yeah,
We've already got that money set aside.
we do, it's been set aside for
That's some time.
several years.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well, that's all I have.
Alright.
That tree at 21st, I investigated it some more, west of Fawn on 21st. I don't know if you went by and looked at it.
I
But
had
it is,
first.
it is it's a split trunk, is what it is, and I think actually the part that is leaning is breaking away from the bottom side.
Okay,
It's gonna fall.
okay, yeah, it's on the list, to get taken care of, but,
I mean, it is in the ditch, it is on the county roadway
Yeah.
side, all of the tree is,
Yeah.
but I'd say if a person just took out that one limb, that one big trunk, it'd be good.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I've gotten up in my area.
All right. I appreciate it.
I don't have anything in mind, so.
All right, have a good Thanksgiving.
Have a good
Thank
Thanksgiving.
you.
Ryan.
Thank you.
Take
Ryan.
care. Ryan? Oh, Eugene.
No, I said.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan. Well, not here yet.
Hit his
Just
schedule.
could sign checks and vouchers.
We can do some checks and vouchers, you need a break? We can run checks and vouchers till break time? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You got anything, Sheriff? That's here for a spectator?
Still trying to stay warm.
But you got heat in your office?
Yeah, I was here, hoping you guys would take a tour today.
Huh?
I was here, so you guys could take a tour at 11, but we'll do it next month.
Well, I apologize.
There's your hotel and
No, that's what I do.
the agenda.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Till I get evened out here.
You will be fine. You'll see, said it's, you guys haven't, when's the last time you guys been over? Right after the slab was poured? Have you ever been over there?
When I signed the rafter?
Okay, did you walk through then when we did rafter signing?
I was through since.
I'll probably
I
see
can't
it
remember
soon
how long
enough, I'm
it was,
good.
a month ago or more.
It's, you won't believe how much has changed in that period of time. And
Yeah.
every 2 weeks it changes so much you can't believe. But now we've got the cell set, everything else,
Yeah.
it's, windows, like I said, the windows are up on the second floor, almost all those windows are in, so they're gonna be leaps and bounds.
There was a little discussion earlier about the bottom windows
Hmm?
being clear.
I don't know that they're
We have
clear.
a see-through.
There'll be a film put on them. I don't know what it's called, but there's a film put on them so they won't be see-through.
Okay.
I was in that folder.
Yeah. Like glaze is what they call it, glaze.
Oh, wait, I can put it back in the.
No, it's all right.
No.
Ain't big. You know, big.
It's standalone.
Take this
Folder.
on down there.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good.
How about those hogs? It did be Colorado.
Are you going well in your world?
Trying to keep meetings going and keep the jail going. Little parts and pieces every week, you know. Our meeting tomorrow, our monthly meeting, and we'll reduce it for the next 30 days, and
It's nice, it's closed in where winter's not gonna,
yeah, once this gas gets hooked up, the
yeah,
generator transformer gets put in,
yeah.
they don't care, the roof's done, like I said, most of the windows will be done, they're all tinted anyway, but all the second story windows are already put in, other than the big windows, you know, they're on the west side of the building and the north side and that very east side that they're about to cells in, they'll be closed in, they won't be that big, but they'll be one of the last ones to go, so they can make sure they have access to put equipment in there. Other than that, it's ready to go.
Yeah, awesome. Won't slow down momentum at all.
Nope.
How short are you on tailors right now, Tom? You still got shortness on the
I think I'm looking for 3.
tree? What, you know, the new jail, when it comes up, you know, as I remember,
Oh,
you know, we may not need as many jailers as what we currently have because of the computer stuff, and that ain't the right word, but we actually, if you get full now, we actually be long jailers when the new one comes up?
No, I'm trying to get, so as all the experts told us from day one, we need probably 16 jailers.
Do you
I had-
think, okay, I didn't realize it'd be quite that
Four
big.
per shift, you know, is what they're
Yeah.
thinking. And when you guys put that on my plate to call all these folks when we were trying to figure out who we were gonna have for a construction manager.
Yeah.
If you remember, I called those 15 places, that had done work for, built these jails and prisons. I asked those sheriffs, what their, staff was for jail side. And I don't care whether it was 400-man jail, a 2,000-bed jail, or a 100-bed jail, it all averaged out to about 16 per shift. And so that's what Goldberg told us to begin with, we probably need about 16 jailers.
Okay.
So, apps keep coming in, we keep doing interviews, and we've hired one or two, and we'll have another couple hired before this is over with, and we should be full staff, ready to go.
Good.
Full staff now would be just right for the mid jail.
Yeah, I think, again, they're gonna start doing training over there for this, starting in March. And they've already done some stuff. We've already went through what the computer screens are gonna look like, all the touch screens to open doors and stuff inside the control pods. And so we want, luckily, Lynn County, like I said, is almost exact footprint of our jail. Sheriff's office and everything else isn't, but the jail is almost exact footprint. And so I've been sending jail staff over there to go through their processes. So when our doors open, we aren't starting at the bottom level. We've got a couple of runs up the ladder to see how that process works. But yeah, starting March, we've already got training set in March for all the jail staff. So I'd really like to have everybody here on staff by March. So we'll start, getting the kitchen stuff ready. They're gonna set that stuff here at the end of the week as Ryan talked about. So there'll be some bumps like there always is. But right now I'm hoping to get 2 or 3 more hired and I'll be doing good.
Like for your kitchen staff, I mean, that's still to be handled, as far as.
So I've already got one, that's gonna move over. And, she'll hire somebody to be her second. And then other than that, it'll be inmate help.
Okay.
So that's the way everybody's doing it, so.
Yes, those are all tied together. Oh, the paper clips up here is something different.
Right.
Been an exciting weekend. What's your favorite teams lose or win?
Both of them won. Probably the best Lions team in my lifetime.
Yeah?
Maybe in their lifetime too.
Yeah, they're what, 10-1?
10-1.
Yeah.
Have a tough stretch coming up with their home game, so. They play Buffalo 2 or 3 weeks. Then Michigan beat Northwestern. But I think everybody's beat Northwestern. So that sets it up for the game. Ohio State will probably take them to the woodshed, maybe.
Probably. Did we not have an election last Thursday?
Oh, for the sheriff's sale.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
Everybody bought new boots here.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
thanks.
Well, nobody outbid it?
No.
Is there anybody who showed up?
Yeah, there were several. They would have liked to get it for
Nothing?
next to nothing, but that's fine.
Not happening?
No, at least not right now. Speaking of that, and I'm not sure, Trust Point is aware the county now owns that building, but It'll
We'll be
probably
here today.
No, I know, I was gonna mention it. So as we've talked about before with the Maribella's building, there's a 120-day redemption period that the IRS can come in and redeem. Are they going to? That chance is remote. And if they do, then they can own it, yeah.
Yep, yippee.
But that 120 is still out there and we'll have to be, run through. Something more imminent, since it's been brought up multiple times and the county was sort of had an interest but not an ownership interest, is the roof. The roof will have to be addressed, and there's no,
We're getting bids together as we speak, to my knowledge.
yeah. I think it's to the point where it's, my opinion will be, it's an emergency that will have to be dealt with.
I mean, I didn't know if you wanted it in the paper, but I told her just go ahead and call around. Call them like 3 or 4.
There's a significant issue on one part, and I'm not gonna totally air that out, but it's something that would require, if it were anybody's business, home, you wouldn't wait to get it taken care of and addressed. It would be, in my opinion, an emergency somebody would want to get dealt with and addressed immediately.
I agree.
Once we have some qualified numbers from people who know how to deal with commercial roofs, then we'll bring it back before you. But I thought I'd have it for today, just don't have it yet.
There's an invoice for $20,400 to bar tire for all tires. And we looked at those bids here a few months ago. I don't remember any of the bids being as high as 22. It's been approved by Ryan, so I'm sure it's probably right.
Copy of the minutes isn't in the, normally he puts a copy of the minutes in.
It would be in the minutes back a few months ago.
He didn't give you a copy with the,
Normally he attaches it to the voucher. Highlights it.
It has to be the back page, 'cause I went through the first 4. That's not a copy of the minutes.
no.
There's not a copy in it. I'm sure it's probably all right with Rhino.
Can you pull up?
And then you go on
Your
over
work
that
figure
thing.
already on it?
I don't remember any of the bids being as high as 22, but I'm probably mistaken. There's some equipment repairs there, but they're all real small ones. All the big numbers there, so 6 are tires.
That's 1,600 on equipment repair.
Yeah. The big tire deal was 8 of them at $11.75 a piece.
Yeah.
Those tires are probably on the graders or on something.
Paperclip with stuff.
Yeah, he had. Bids for assorted tires on April 10th.
Our tire had, their bid was definitely the best on,
It was $13,090 plus $4,400 plus $1,936.
to bar tire.
That was Yeah,
So there's three different sets there.
that would make it be the
That'd be
22.
getting up,
They weren't all on one, apparently.
yeah, that'd be getting up close to it. Thanks, Angie.
Yeah. One, 5, 6, 7, 8, and
Salt's pretty expensive item, isn't it?
Yeah.
The bid is in there, $60 for 2,500 tons.
Yes.
I would also like to note that in those tickets from Central Salt, that none of that has night trucking on it. I know there was some blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada about the salt bid, that there's none of them are night trucking, so.
Stone sand.
Stone sand and
Yeah.
ag bid,
Yeah.
so. More, he's talking out the backside.
They call that fake news now.
That guy,
People will think what they want to think. One thing this job's taught me,
Mm-hmm.
you can't. Can't change your mind. You get it set in your head. That's it.
Is everything back up and going on disability? Everything's going good on it, the disability insurance? Short term?
Part
Okay.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, what was a post I read on the internet the other day? It said the same people that are cheering at your inauguration will cheer at your execution.
Yeah.
Everybody likes the show. I didn't quite realize that so much till annual experience.
You gotta do something today?
Well, I was hoping to take you guys on tour, but it's only supposed to be like 30 next week, but that's okay, you guys.
That's way too warm, apparently.
Just wear your long underwear, it'll be fine.
Okay. They're getting a little more holes plugged, the wind won't whistle quite so
Yeah.
bad in there maybe.
Don't they have an exercise area, Tom?
Pardon me?
Don't they have an exercise area?
We're gonna do jumping jacks, is that what we're talking about?
I jumping jack wouldn't,
Yeah.
I jumping jack wouldn't be high enough off the floor.
Not one jump,
Actually,
but maybe half a jump.
Half a jump, and only one of them.
Well, I still have it, but.
And we had in high school, gee.
I hate it.
Go ahead. We'll take a break. I'll blow up the chips and nuggets. See if y'all get done with that and take a break.
Yeah.
Might be a little late.
Oh, yeah.
Morning.
Morning, how are you?
Good. Yeah, got enough coffee in you to get ready for insurance?
You know that's my favorite subject.
See, I know it's your jam.
Yeah.
Everybody loves insurance. I'm telling you.
Right? Why shouldn't ya?
It's my favorite. I could eliminate that line item in my business.
In a heartbeat.
Nobody likes it. I
And they talk
understand
about
that.
tires and fuel being high.
You didn't have to pay for insurance, you did.
Yes, sir. But
Well, not only that, you gotta pay for people that don't have insurance.
That's the kicker.
part of the problem.
That's what it all boils down
And all the attorneys on TV every night.
to. In a check indirect, or indirect need a check?
If you pulled out in front of a truck, you're due for some compensation.
Mike's got this.
Truckers are a big part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the jungle law guy.
Yeah, he did that there, yeah.
Yeah, if you pulled out in front of a truck, you're an idiot. We're gonna take a break as soon as they're done with vouchers, take a 10-minute break. It'll be just a little bit past 10 o'clock.
This is just a total of.
Yeah.
And here's another sheet.
Okay.
Being left-handed, I guess it's
Dad actually went to school before he left, and didn't nurse. No, not nurse. No. Right.
I believe it.
I didn't catch it.
As soon as he gets done with the vouchers, we're gonna take a 10-minute break.
Okay.
We might get.
Are you being illegal on that thing? Where's your little scooter?
I have it. I just can't really use it in here, but.
Have you seen her drive?
Hey. Oh, you can have that, yeah.
Does your doctor know you're doing that without the scooter? 'Cause that's what got me in trouble, remember? And they
made me be in there 6 more weeks. I'm probably gonna have to be anyway, because I don't think it's gonna be healed by next week. Yeah. But I did find out that at 23 miles per hour, my car goes into cruise control. That's when it actually starts. So that's your silver lining. Breaking your foot.
Push that button, it'll maintain speed.
But it's hard to hold down the pedal for very long, so I found out I have to get it to 23, and then you can get cruise.
23 miles,
23.
I'll be doing it.
Most of them were 30.
Interview for all the hills. I don't know how it's 23, but it is.
Is that home or is that home?
Oh, this might be.
Those should both be yours.
Oh, no, these are both yours,
Both
sorry.
mine?
Yeah, his last week's haven't been.
Okay.
Take a break, we'll come back at 10:05.
How you doing? Good to see you in there.
Alright. Trust Point representatives, Andy and Bobby, you're up. 2025 insurance renewal.
Yay. All right, fine. Whatever. Go team. Most of you, I believe everybody knows me. I'm Angela Turnbull, owner of Trust Point Insurance and Real Estate, and Bobby Gilhouse, she's in charge of our big commercial division. And this is Jackson Becker. He's in our Overland Park area as well. So he came with us today. He has experience in commercial entities as well, and his big strong suit is cyber. Sold a lot of cyber. So he has been working with us now almost a year at Trust Point. So just a quick introduction of everybody. We are going to do a little bit of a dual presentation this year. As we had spoke last year, we have put your policy bill to market like we did back in 2020. So we're going to present it a little bit differently. So I know we gave you a huge book of information, and quite honestly, we're going to spend a lot of time in the presentation area, but you'll see there's a red tab for EMC, Travelers, and Seville. Those are complete proposals from each one of those companies. So the data is still the same, just their numbers and coverages are different. You're going to see one that says Seville, and that is a work comp only quote that was brought to us as an option that we have for you today. So it's standalone work comp, where you can still have your package somewhere else, either with EMC and or the other carrier that's coming today is Travelers.
Do you affect the other bids to pull that work comp from EMC Travelers or?
Well, EMC and Travelers also have a work comp, but it doesn't affect the coverages, so to say. It just coincides with.
They're comfortable with not having work comp.
Mhm.
Okay.
Obviously, they would like to have it, Tom, just so that everything stays together.
Yeah.
Well, no,
But we did want
sometimes
to
the
bring
fee
you
goes
options.
up if you yank something off.
Yeah. So it makes it more of a conducive insurance. If you have obviously one carrier, it just helps. Say your officers are in an auto accident, you're going to have an auto policy or claim, and then you're also going to have a work comp claim. So there are some of those things that is a struggle, and that's just another option that you guys can have that we can discuss with any questions.
Yeah, it seems to, at least in my business, where that my commercial and my ag stuff, it's two different companies but the same agent. And at least it's like, it's up to you guys to fight out who's gonna pay for this, not you working between two different agents.
Right.
One pointing the finger at the other.
Yeah, right.
It is a little more labor intensive, but it can be done, just like you said.
Yeah.
Your agent can handle that. And then the fun but not so fun, at the very end, we're going to talk about claims. So that's going to be a hot topic of where we're at in the discussion and what we're going to be looking at today. I would say some of our biggest things that we're looking at today, that Bobby's going to go into more detail on both of them, and then I'm going to end up the presentation is property, and that's pretty much known right now, and work comp. So that's a heavy hitter as well. So we're going to go ahead and start it off. And Bobby, would you like to go ahead and start with property?
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Angela.
So good morning. All of you have actually already kind of worked ahead and you've got your books laid out. Like Angela mentioned, we did do the format a little bit differently this year, so that way we can have more time to go over the options and all of the data. First and foremost, Angela and I want to extend our thank yous to Angie, to the department heads, and to the numerous employees that have been involved in putting up with all of our questions and visits and just interacting with them, getting that underwriting data together in order to put everything out to bid with travelers. I think we've been working on this for 5-6 months, so everyone has been extremely instrumental to that, and we couldn't have done it without Angie, her office, and again, multiple departments involved. So we want to thank you for that. We're going to jump right in. So we're going to jump right into the property. The first section we have, and the way that we establish this in order to have a really good view between the two companies is we did them side by side, just so we can kind of hit on the things that are really different and the things that are not so different. On that third column, what Angela had mentioned on Seville, a lot of that will be blank just because they are only providing a work comp option, but we'll get to that as we get further down the line. So first and foremost, on property, with both companies, they are offering replacement cost on the roofs unless that roof is over 15 years old. Then they're going to actual cash value, which is where depreciation comes in. This is a pretty standard clause across the board with multiple insurance companies. Roofs are expensive, so this is actually a way that they have kind of protected themselves so they're not paying replacement costs on a roof that might be 50 years old. So that's something that does apply with both companies. With EMC, your building blanket is just over $17.8 million. Travelers blankets for the buildings is just over $21 million. There is kind of a jump there. The key difference to that is Travelers actually includes your property in the open in your building blanket. Your property in the open is going to be your radio towers, your emergency storm sirens, your emergency management, the DVRS system. So it's going to be more of that property in the open stuff that may not be attached to a building, but Travelers rates it as a building. Next one is our business personal property. With EMC, they have that at just over $3.1 million across all of your locations. That did increase slightly from last year. It's about 5% increase, and that's just to help keep up with inflation. Things are getting more expensive. Things increase every single year. And Travelers, their number again, right there in line with EMC's at 3.1. The Lebo house, I do have it itemized, or we do have it itemized here. And the reason why is it's not included in that blanket number above with either company. And that is just based on the occupancy of that property, the value of that property, and the coverage on that property is why they have that separated. I'm going to go ahead and touch on it, but it's down just a few more lines. EMC is offering full replacement cost on that Lebo house location for the house and the garage. Travelers is only willing to offer us ACV, actual cash value. That's pretty drastic. It's a very nice property to go to actual cash value. So, but on that Lebo house, it's not in the blanket, which is why we have it listed there. The next line where we start to really see some big differences is the deductible structure. With EMC, your deductible for your property is $5,000 for any event except for wind or hail. Wind or hail has its own special clause or own special condition. Instead of trying to squeeze a whole bunch of data into that small space, we did reference that into the proposal within EMC. You're welcome to look at it later. But what they did is they applied a 1% deductible on your locations that are valued over $1 million, which is going to be courthouse and jail, your road and bridge, and your Lebo house. So those properties do have a 1% wind hail deductible, which is calculated based on that building's value. So where we are currently, the courthouse valued at $14 million, 1% of that would be $140,000, and so on and so forth. Travelers is a little bit different, and this is where we really see a big difference. Their deductible is $10,000 for all peril or all damage except for wind or hail. Their deductible is 3% with a $250,000 minimum. So no matter what, no matter how many buildings are damaged, your damage has to hit $250,000 before Travelers will start to pay anything. So in the event multiple buildings are damaged, it's not as big of a equation. But if you have one property that's damaged and 3% of that building's value is only 10,000, Travelers is gonna say, hey, our minimum's 250. Once you get above that, then we'll start to pay out. So Travelers' offer on property is still competitive on the coverages. The deductible is where we see a big difference, because essentially you're going to be self-insuring a lot more than you would with your current plan.
Back on the building blanket limit.
Yes.
Okay, so Travelers, that covers radio towers, that's type of stuff, correct?
Yes.
So where does EMC come in?
So, great question. On EMC, they actually separate theirs out. So underneath that 17 million, if you go down 2 lines where it says property in the open, EMC has just over $1 million allotted for that, so that's why it looks different.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
It's still there. They're still including that. And in that $1 million, that did increase from last year because we added in all of the emergency management. Yes, thank you, Angela. All the radio towers that you guys acquired last year.
Sirens.
Thank you.
We will have three new towers.
3 new towers coming up.
In
but that'll be
2025 or 6.
Yes.
Got it.
And Amber's office did reach out to us on that about those towers, and we did have some preliminary data and some preliminary figures for them, which I imagine they may have already talked to you about. So,
On that 250 minimum,
yes, sir.
we probably don't have over 4 or 5 buildings that's even worth that.
It would take a lot of buildings to add up to that 250
Well, it
with
takes
that
a lot of
3%.
accumulation.
Exactly. It absolutely would.
As far as single buildings, it would be 4 or 5 to even hit that.
Yeah. The good news is the way Travelers has that designed with that 3% is it's per occurrence. So if one event happens, hail, I mean, we live in Kansas, hail's a real thing. Hail's going to hit multiple buildings at once. So it's not that they're going to surcharge that 250 times every building. It would be in the event of a hailstorm, that minimum would be 250 for all the buildings.
For all the buildings.
Yes, sir.
But most of the time, the hail's on the roof.
Yes.
So you're gonna have a hard time getting to 250.
Yeah. And we just,
Depending on the age of.
depending on the age of the roof, yes. And it is probably the largest difference. And one of the things we do have towards the end, you actually have the ability to buy insurance for insurance. It's called a wind hail buy down. It's a buyback policy where you can actually insure the deductible from what the company offers to what the deductible company offers for additional cost. So that is an option that's available, and we'll touch on that. And I say insurance for insurance, but it's essentially deductible insurance. It has a lot of names. It's kind of, it's been very common. It's actually a Lloyd's product where that you would have a claim with, let's say, Travelers, and Travelers would subtract their deductible. You would then file your claim with the deductible program, and they would pay you the difference. To say, your deductible was $250, but we're going to buy it down to $10,000, and here's what it's going to cost you. And that's something that is an available product that has become more popular with companies increasing deductibles as looking more of that share. So
That was something that we offered to you last year, and you chose not to take it last year.
Yeah.
I remember talking
Same thing.
about probably will again.
Does have a price tag with it.
Yes.
That's for sure.
So I apologize, as I know there's so much data that we're kind of in there. So do we have any additional questions before I kind of move forward?
How are you taking into consideration the new jail? I know it says pending completion. Do you have a estimate?
Great transition, Wade, thank you. So the Law Enforcement Center, we know that's obviously very exciting going on in the neighborhood. So we do not have that insured within your current plan. It's our understanding that the contractor probably has a builder's risk type of policy for it during the construction phase. Based on the projected $25 million for the project, we're estimating, again, because it could go up or down, construction changes, it's not always the same price every day, that based on that $25 million, when we add it to the insurance on an annual price, it would be $47,500 for that $25 million. That does not take into account any of the interior or any of the equipment, because we may need to address that differently. That 25 million is the number that Sheriff Johnson had provided to us for the structure itself. So that number is very fluid because it could, again, fluctuate, increase, decrease with equipment allowances or content if we need to. But yeah, on that law enforcement, the construction project, again, it's our understanding that your main contractor is protecting that under builder's risk.
Basically, you're looking at another 50,000 a year just for the law enforcement center,
Yes, sir.
roughly. By the time you throw some contents in on it.
Yes, sir. And once the construction is done, so the number that they did give us, EMC, they did give us is based on a overview. So depending on what additional features, we know that it's going to be a joisted masonry building, if it's going to be fully sprinklered, if it's going to have fire doors, if it's going to have any of those added bells and whistles that we didn't necessarily account for. Once it's fully complete, then your insurance company, whether it be EMC or Travelers, would come out and do a full walkthrough to make sure that, again, any of the discounts that are available or any of the construction improvements that are there, I'll make sure all that's accounted.
Bobby, I hate to interrupt, but just to let you know that EMC and Travelers both have done walkthroughs. Andrew is very much instrumental in that, setting us up with each department. So they have gone through each location and looked at everything previously to providing a quote today.
Very good.
And that includes the equipment, like road and bridge,
They were basically looking at your buildings
Oh,
and what
okay.
you had.
Okay.
We did work and coordinate with the department heads in regards to the inland marine and all the equipment.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll discuss that as well, but yes, you're correct.
So by the time we do all of the math and look at everything, with EMC, your total insured property value for all of your locations, all of your buildings that we have insured is just over 24 million. Travelers is coming in at 27 million. That final difference and that final variance is when Travelers plugged in the data for your buildings, their computer program kicked out a potentially higher value than what EMC has, which is where we're seeing that discrepancy. Or not discrepancy, we're seeing that difference. On the blanket, both companies are offering replacement on the buildings unless it's listed otherwise. And the two buildings that there is a difference is the Lebo House and the Recycling Center building. Travelers is only willing to offer actual cash value on the Recycling Center because there's a very high risk for fire with recycling centers. So insurance companies are not fully wanting to offer replacement. However, EMC, I came out and I had met with the employees there, took some pictures. Because the housekeeping was so well maintained, EMC was comfortable and got it approved to still offer replacement on that building, which is great.
They do a good job out there.
They really do. So if you flip to the top of page 2, this is where we continue going through our property. Both companies do have a cosmetic limitation on the roof. Don, you spoke about that just earlier. Hail goes through and it just peppers the metal or the roof material. The insurance company won't pay out until it actually affects the roof's function. That actually is intended to be a cost savings to you, so that way they're not replacing roofs every time something happens. Both companies also include equipment breakdown coverage for all of your locations. I did include a flyer for you. It's just for reference for later, and just which page number that is on in your EMC proposal. Both companies also are including that business income coverage that we added several years ago. In the event something happens to the courthouse and your offices still need space, they still need somewhere to work, that business income is actually going to help you with some of that temporary expense for those offices needing to get back up and running. We've also got the spoilage, the earthquake, and the flood included. You are seeing some variances here versus what EMC includes versus what Travelers offers. Travelers is offering higher coverages on each of those, and that's just part of the Travelers program, that they do offer more coverage as their starting point. Not necessarily that we asked them for that, that's just what they gave us. Overall, between the two companies, EMC is $64,000 for the year, Travelers is $77,000 for the year, even with some of those differences that we had talked about. The next one I'm going to jump right into is the equipment. This one is very busy policy, very busy line of business. That equipment list is reviewed, and Steve, to answer your question, we just reviewed that in January of 2024 with all of the department heads and department office or department employees throughout the county that have equipment included in this list.
If I remember right, it was adjusted some.
It was,
from-
yes.
Okay.
Yes. It is something on a standard we do every 3 years. However, we can make changes every year because the equipment changes value. But just as a standard at your guys' request, we just coordinate with them every 3 years. And then as they have changes, following the auction recently, or just buying and selling or buying and trading equipment, we do make those changes throughout the year. So our contractors' equipment, with both companies, we have that at just over $10.3 million. This year, we did give you a little more data, again, for later if you want to look it over. We did include the schedule for you, or the list, so that way you have that to look over if you guys want to. We do have a deductible structure with EMC and Travelers, both at $5,000, which is per occurrence. So again, if we have multiple pieces of equipment that are damaged, to road graders, to dozers, landfill, whatever the case may be, that deductible is only going to apply once.
Per occurrence.
Per occurrence, yes, sir. The next section, or the next line item there, is that leased and rented equipment. This is a very important coverage we found for Road and Bridge because of the amount of equipment that they do rent. With EMC, we have $800,000 at any one time. This doesn't necessarily mean that that's how much you guys are paying for all the time. It's just how much we can have at any one time is what's included. Travelers, their starting point at the time of print, their current is $25,000. So there's a little bit of an adjustment there we need to make because they're a little shy, but that is built in there so that way Road and Bridge or whomever might be renting equipment doesn't have to pay the insurance at the renting company because we have that built in for you. At the top of page 3 is where our equipment continues. So we have another line item for scheduled property. And kind of why do we have it separated? This is the non-contractors. This is going to be your voting terminal, which just recently had an argument with Angie, the emergency management signs, your mobile radios that we added last year is where those are going to be. Because they're not a contractor's equipment, they're not really a machine, it's just something that does not always stay in one place. So that's why we have it in that scheduled property. And we have just over 1.9 on both of those. The last little section there we have is the drone, that Sheriff's Department drone that we have insured. And that value comes from the Sheriff's Office. That's the drone and all the attachments that come with it. Here's where you start to see some real pricing differences just based on rates. EMC is $41,000, Travelers is $13,000. Coverages are not quite equal just because we have that correction on the leased and rented, but that's where we start to see some of the difference in rating come from.
The drones of the sheriff's office, there's TBD there, is that the difference in that premium at $27,000?
It's possible, but I don't know that it's going to be that big of a difference. The TBD, the reason that is in there, Dawn, is at the time Travelers got us their proposal last week, they didn't have the drone listed in the equipment, so we went back to them for clarification, and we just hadn't gotten a response from them before we came here today. If that is included, we don't, in all the paperwork we saw, it is not, so it would be an addition to, but I don't know that.
It could go to $20,000 or $30,000
It could.
cost.
It could.
They don't have it listed yet.
Correct. With that drone and with that rented equipment, it is very possible the Traveler's number could fluctuate. Before we jump into liability, any additional questions on that equipment?
What did we have in 2024 for deductible?
Great question. 2024, you had a $2,500 deductible on your equipment, which was also per occurrence. That is something that EMC did apply this year. They went to an even $5,000. That is because all of your other deductibles across all of your other policies are $5,000. For that continuity factor, they wanted to present that. We did request for them to give us the pricing on what it would be for last year, just so that way you have that option to drop it back down to $2,500 if you would like. So that is a variable, and that is a follow-up that we'll be following once we have that adjusted pricing.
So they did have to go to management for the $2,500 deductible,
Yes.
standard across the raising at 5. But I am wanting to.
You're gonna pay more, up front
You are.
on your premium if you got
Absolutely.
$2,500. I was just wondering why we didn't get a $10,000 deductible option.
Those are options that we can go over, and when in the summary, we do need to talk about where you guys are at with inland marine. We do have it broken out based on, not on premium, but on value. So we broke it out for you, and we can discuss that later.
Because, to Angela's point, yes, we did have it split up, so if you decide to go with a higher deductible, you kind of know how much equipment you're going to be removing from the list to self-insure. Your liability, this is the protection that comes in for Coffee County for its operations, for all of its locations, and the locations are everything from your buildings, your sirens, your empty lots that you guys own, buildings that you acquire. So this is where that liability comes in. And how it's calculated is just the overall operations of the county. Angie's office does a great job every year to go over the data with the auditors to make sure that we have everything accounted for and correct. And this, EMC's actually had a decrease this year, so their pricing is $18,590, whereas Travelers is just over $20,000. At the top of page 4 is where some of these additional liability coverages come in. These are things that you have built in. You have had them with EMC for several years. The violent event was added in several years ago. Unfortunately, it is a realization that we have that. Your employee benefits is there, as well as your unmanned aircraft. So your unmanned aircraft is your drones that are used outside of the sheriff's office. This was added a couple of years ago because it was our understanding maybe the appraiser and or Ritter Bridge had one that they used for just overviewing properties. So we do have some limit of liability built in there of $100,000. And you'll notice in the travelers column that is not included. So we would need to add in additional coverage somewhere else for that drone's liability. The other item we wanted to just bring to your attention, just for full disclosure, is EMC includes incidental medical malpractice for your health department. This is, and I say incidental because it's not intended to be a primary coverage. And when we visited with Amelia in her office, she does acquire a malpractice policy for her nurses through the American Nurses Association, which is they're a very broad coverage, and it is something that she does acquire for them. This incidental is more for your administrative, your office staff, your support staff. That may not be a licensed nurse, but may still have some interaction. Also, this is something you have with EMC and have had, you do not with Travelers in their proposal. So we would need to add in an additional filler option there. The bottom of page 4 is our crime. This is what we call our blanket bond for your employees. This is your employee theft. In the event of, well, it happens, employee were to steal funds or forge checks or help themselves to some funds. With EMC, that pricing is $387. It does include forgery, it does include the sheriff, it does include the attorney, it does not include the treasurer, which is bonded separately, and that is something that is in place. With Travelers, notable difference, they are also including $50,000, but they are not providing coverage for forgery, and their pricing for the product is $1,781 for the year. So this is where, one of the things we enjoy about being an independent agency is where we start to see the variances between multiple companies, whether it be coverages or whether it be pricing. You really, just looking at that and being able to find the best plan is one of the best parts of what we do.
In regards to the crime policy with Travelers, it's more extensive and more in-depth of what they offer for some of the coverages. So there's a little bit of that significant differences. We've gone over those coverages every single year, and at that time you guys were comfortable with where we were at.
On the additional liability coverage, what's the cost of each one of them?
So within the Travelers option, they don't give us the breakdown on each one of those. They just kind of roll it into it. We do have the itemization with EMC. If you would like it, we can get that for you. I just didn't have it in today's paperwork. But if you would like to see what each of those are, we can get that for you.
I think it'd be good to just take a look at it and evaluate it.
Okay. Top of page 5 is our business auto. this is again where we start to see some differences. Both companies are proposing $1 million in liability. Your liability is your injury or damage to someone or something. So involving an auto, you automatically have that $1 million up to per event or per occurrence with any auto accident. With EMC, one of the unique coverages that they offer is a no deductible for glass repair or replacement. Most companies will only offer to pay for having a chip fix, whereas EMC actually will pay for have the whole windshield replaced in the event it cracks. Winter is coming. We did a little bit of looking. In the past 5 years, that has actually been a very important coverage for your department. There's been 21 claims for glass replacements or glass repair. That's totaled just over $9,000 over the last 5 years. So just having that built in has been that savings, so you don't have that as a budget item. Travelers is only offering the repair option, so just the chips or dings. Deductibles across both companies is $5,000. Where they do differ, EMC's maximum deductible is $10,000 for any one event. Hail. So I say that a lot. Hail can damage multiple vehicles at once. EMC is only going to apply 2 deductibles if multiple vehicles are damaged. Whereas Travelers is each vehicle. And based on the entire fleet, roughly 100 vehicles do carry that comprehensive and collision coverage, so it would be 100 times 5,000. The other one that was notable, and we did include the schedule for your reference to review, but one of the main items that caught our attention was the bare unit for the sheriff's office that they have for their SRT SWAT. With EMC, that does include physical damage to that unit. Granted, I know it'd probably take a lot to hurt it, but it's there. Travelers is only offering liability only for that unit. And that is, that value we have listed right now is at $180,000 for that piece alone. Last year, EMC's auto pricing was $125, so we actually are coming in with a decrease this year. We love it to say that. So the EMC auto is just over $103,000, whereas Travelers is $73,000. The next section is the most not drastic, but this is the one that we're gonna spend a little time talking about, and I apologize for listening on. So the workers' compensation section. This is what protects you and your employees. This year, your experience mod or your mod rating factor is a 1.22. That is the highest it's been in over 15 years.
Usually it's below 1.
It's usually below a 1. Last year, your experience rating was a 0.76. So anything under a 1 automatically gets you a discount. So 0.76 would have given us that 24% discount. We lost the 24% discount, and now we have a 22% in addition, is what that mod factor does. And the mod calculation, or the experience modification, it's based on history. And to Angela's point, we did include some data on why this year took such a drastic jump. Because it's a large swing. No doubt about it.
You had a good year roll off and a bad year roll on.
Yes.
So it's based off of the 3 years.
Yes. And we do know, as an organization, you have done your diligence on the return to work programs, on the wellness benefits, on all of the added extras for safety. But any of the companies that we are proposing today, once we get into the coverages and the specifics, all of them have online training tools free to you as a policyholder to help control maybe some of those more frequent losses that are happening, or help control or help go through some of that in training with your employees on why safety is important, because in the event of this kind of a year, that's increased cost in insurance, that's less cost available or less budget available for other items. Across the board, all of the companies are using the same payroll calculation, and this is something that Angie's office works really closely with us and EMC on, is how we have those employees associated to what their actual work duties are. In looking at your sheet and your 3 columns, the rates vary quite a bit this year, across all three companies. And they all know of the others' offer, so they kind of had a little bit of a bidding war. No lie, they definitely all wanted a shot at it. They wanted it, so they really tried to give us their best.
They didn't know each other's rates,
No.
but they knew that they were competing.
They knew there was competition. So at the top of page 6, you'll see that our payrolls continue. All the payrolls are the same, and it's all based on that audited financials. With EMC and Travelers, we have kept that deductible in there per claimant of $2,000. That is actually benefiting you from having a less drastic mod because it's helping to keep some of those smaller claims or some of those frequency things off of your record or off of your history. Where we really start to see the pricing differences kick in. With EMC, that first item is your experience modification applied, which adds $35,000 and change. But because EMC has been your insurer, they did want to offer you a discount. So they're saying, even though we're charging you your experience rating, we're going to automatically apply an 8.6% discount. EMC has also decided not to apply an additional debit or additional surcharge, which insurance companies have that ability to do. They can automatically charge up to 25% just for writing the business. It adds in that buffer because when they look at claim history, if there is a frequency, they can add in some extra dollars in case your claims are going to move forward to make you more profitable. Then EMC also has a deductible discount. Just having that deductible in there grants you another $2,700 savings. So for the year, EMC's renewal is $183 and change. Travelers, same payroll data, the deductible included. Their experience ratings charge is $24,000. They are also giving you a discount of 4%, which brings it down to $7,700. But then they are actually adding back 18%. So they're kind of giving you a little, taking it away, giving you a little back. They are also giving you a deductible discount. Their deductible discount is a little bit greater, for just over $4,000. So Travelers offer is $154 for the year, $154.9. Seville, in the third column over there, all of that payroll data is still the same. They do not have a deductible per claimant built in, so that is something just to note. But overall, with their charges, that modification edition is $32,000. They are giving you the highest discount across the board at 12%, but then they're adding 20% back to it. There is no deductible discount available for them because they are not providing that deductible. And then the last item is the on-call injury reporting hotline that you have currently enrolled with EMC. That is something that EMC and Travelers both do offer. It has been used widely by departments in the event an employee is injured. It takes that decision on what happens next. They just call the hotline and they're able to triage or be able to determine where they need to go. So definitely have some fluctuation in there based on the rating. And all of this year's fluctuation is because of that experience mod, that 1.22.
It's hard for me to understand that our mod rate's gone up almost 2 times what it was.
Mm-hmm. So last year, your mod was a .76.
I realize
Yep.
that's 1.48 more.
Mm-hmm.
The new one's 1.48,
Yep.
almost 3 times.
You want to go ahead and
Uh,
talk about that?
There is, well, I'm sure there's not an error or a mistake in it. But you know, once that rate gets up, it's impossible to bring it down.
It takes 3 years.
It'll take 3 years minimum to even touch it. Probably.
That's if you have good years.
Yeah, and then you better have yours equal to what you were, so.
That modification number is actually created from the NCCI, and they do that for every state, every entity. Based on the amount of payroll that you have to have a certain amount of payroll. So if you were just start a business, you had an employee, they're going to start you at 1, and then your job is to try to make it better and get lower and not have any claim frequency or high claims or catastrophic loss, something of that nature. But as your claims go on, it's from the previous 3 years, not including the year that you're in. Unfortunately, when we go over the numbers, you guys had significant thousands of dollars of claims that rolled on, making that calculation of the average of 3 years. But you had 1 year that was very good, and it rolled off of that 3-year average. So that one rolled off, and a really bad one rolled on, with some other years that were pretty strong as well. So that automatically takes that up. So that NCCI number for that modification was made from the state level.
I never thought about the year going off, but that is all because of the one, you know, that you just added.
It helps hold it down
Yeah.
because of that average.
Yeah, there's been 3
And that's not including 2024.
Exactly. It does not include the year that we're in.
And I know at least one.
We have some that are, yes.
It's not gonna be good next year either.
So I think that's where we have to be proactive and getting more and more active in safety and what we can do. Department heads using the on-call. We have safety videos. We have all of that stuff available. You guys do a great job, and sometimes, you know, claims just happen. Just being proactive is huge in how we move forward. And I don't want to say incentivize, but everybody needs to realize that, yes, that insurance is there, but if it goes higher, you're going to pay more.
And one of the other things that we did include in that claim data for you, some of that experience modification factor this year is being driven by the fact of open reserves. So open reserves are held in the pocketbook, essentially, of what might happen. There's a lot of hypothetical of what could occur. So those claims that are still active, they may have a reserve of $50,000, but that $50,000 might end up $500,000. So that is also one of the large variables with the current.
My court might wind up 200,000.
So I was going the positive route, Jesse. But it is a variable that exists because insurance companies, anytime they are working on a claim, they're estimating what it could cost, just so that way they're prepared for that. And we did include some of that data for you, so you can kind of see, I'll get that angle this way. But so you can kind of see what is driving some of that. Because Dawn, you're correct. You know, that is a very drastic, and it does make you question if there's an error. In last year's calculation, your total losses on that 3-year history was $124,000. This year, we're coming into that good year falling off and then a bad year coming on. Now your total losses are $324,000.
So let's go ahead and turn to that. If you want to go to the claims section, it's the blue.
Blue tab.
I imagine it's 307,000.
Go to the blue tab. And thank you, Bobby, for everything, and please feel free to jump in.
Sorry, ran along, guys.
We got all the.
Oh, well, I didn't know. I'm just kidding. Okay, so it addresses the very first page, addresses your experience mod of the 1.22, and you're going to see the last 3 years that it incurs. So it's your 2021 to 2022, so that's January to December 31, or January to January. That's why that 22 is in there. Your 22 to 23, it's for the physical year of 22. And then from 23 to 24. It does not include anything in 24. It's basically for the year of 2023. So you can see those projected losses. I'm up at the top at the 1.22. So your total combined losses were 364 and some change, but you can see the 21 year was 4,900, and that's the year you're going to lose. So. Then you move down to the mod rate. It was only $1,230 when it included the $1,230 in incurred losses for 2020. So that was a great year. 2021, you had that $4,600. In 2022 was $119. Now those numbers are a little bit different because of some reserves. Some things were paid out, some things were subrogated on. So those numbers aren't exact, just because some of the claim payouts were a little bit different in between the years on calculation. So your lower number of the 0.76 in that bottom paragraph, that's why you were at a 0.76, because you had 2 great years, 2020 and 2021. So you lost 2020. when you moved your mod rate, you lost that $1,200 in claims, which is remarkable, considering an entity this size. Does anybody have any questions on that? From your mod rate going from a .76 to a 1.22?
As long as the numbers
When they're
are
paying
right.
out that much extra from what they were, then
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
explains
pretty
itself.
obvious.
I just didn't realize we had that much payout into our claims.
it's a fair amount.
That's significant dollars.
Yeah.
If you turn the next page, it just gives you an overall graph of where some of those expenses are, just based on what the result is of the work comp claim: sprain, strain, bruise, cut, specified injury, not otherwise classified, maybe fracture, poisoning or puncture. So that's just an overview. The graphs look very similar, but the payouts are different. If you turn to the next page, we did the gray from last year's mod rate, the .76. So Bobby put them as your frequency claims, your severity, your gross incurred, and your reserves. So your gray represents the 2021 to the 2023, and your green columns reference your 2022 to 2024. So on the very first line on frequency and claims, you can see that you had 22 total claims. But in this next year, or the average of the three, you had 27.
That's only an increase of 20%, and yet the dollar increase is over two times.
Has to be the severity of the accident.
Severity of the accident, how much it was.
I didn't realize we was having that much of an issue.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of the rest of it probably would either. Because you're talking about a huge increase, three times over.
Mhm. And you also have to consider if there are litigation involved in this, you're paying for attorney fees, and that is included as well. And so some of those reserves may include that, or it may include physical therapy, it may include occupational therapy, it could include both. All of those things are put in there. Those reserves could go down, but typically they don't. They have actuarias that look at this case scenario, what have you. I will tell you that Bobby and I work very hard, at least 5 months prior to your renewal, going through every single claim, trying to get it down. Sometimes insurance carriers are like, well, we don't have doctor's notes on this, we can't get them to close. We need to get finalization. Bobby and I will call the doctor's offices. Hey, this is Angela from Trust Point Insurance. We're trying to close down this work comp claim. Is it possible that we can get this down? That's some of the due diligence that we have to do to try to drive those mod rates and get those claims closed. Because what they do is typically 3 months prior to your renewal, and CCI runs those numbers. And if those claims are sitting out there in reserve, it's going to hurt you. But if we can get those down and get those paid off or closed, it's going to be better for you in the long run.
end result.
Exactly.
But you take the sprain and strains is up to 100,000, but you'd think that'd be a lot. Bruises right now jump from 2,800 to $150,000.
So we didn't bring detail. Obviously, that's an executive situation. We talked to Wade about that, and we can't say names and incidences or whatever because we don't want to go into divulging anything.
But then
So
again,
this
that
is
goes
an
back
overall.
to severity of the.
Absolutely,
Is that
100%, 100%.
Those bruises must have been pretty tough.
Well, I'm just
Well, it
saying that
depends.
that's.
If you have a bone bruise, it's way different than just having a bruise from,
Exactly, that bone bruise.
or a car accident, a
Right.
bruise. Some of those factors, absolutely. Does anybody have any questions on the claims card? I know it's not, nobody likes to hear it, but that's what it is. That's what's driving that 1.22 factor, as I said in my opening statement. It's a significant number. And then it's gonna be for the next 3, right? So you lost a good year, you had a not so great year coming on, and as you stated before, we do have some that are still open and have some reserves on.
Oh, we don't know what 24's gonna be like yet.
It's not gonna be good.
It's not gonna be good.
And that will be on the next.
Next.
Yeah, we'll see that next year.
No questions? Okay. We can go ahead and go back to the presentation, and the page that we were on is page 6.
Okay, say it again.
Page 6?
Okay.
Mhm. Down at the bottom column, we're at the linebacker, directors, and officers liability. That's coverage for you. We do have the same $1 million occurrence for both carriers with a retroactive date of 7/1/92. And travelers did go back to that. That's really nice because anytime that you switch to another carrier, it's called tail coverage. You want to have that gap in between, so you want to make sure that you're covered just in case there's any incidences on that. And the deductible for EMC is $2,500 and travelers is $5,000. If you flip to the next page, you're going to see that over to the right, travelers excludes defense if the county was named in with these other entities. And that's a huge difference.
Yeah, that'd be an issue, couldn't it? A big issue?
Absolutely.
And the EMC doesn't exclude that.
EMC includes it, it is not excluded. Also, with the premium of the EMC is $12,931. That includes employment practice liability in that amount. You're going to see in the next column below, travelers sections that out. But on the linebacker and D&O, EMC is $12,931, where travelers is $11,406. Which pushes us down to the next column of the employment practice liability. Again, that's included in EMC's premium of the $12,900. They are both the claims made with a $1 million liability limit. Again, they have the retroactive date. Your difference is going to be your deductible. And traveler's premium on that is an addition of the $18,267. So there are some rating differences right there significantly. And coverages. Moving on to the law enforcement. The big line item is the very first item, law enforcement claims made. It's when it happened. Your law enforcement on travelers is per occurrence. You do have a $1 million limit of liability. Your retroactive date on law enforcement goes back to the 7/1/92. Travelers is not offering that. They do have a med expense for any one person of $5,000. Travelers is not covering that. And the deductible per occurrence is $2,500 with EMC and $10,000 with travelers. This is based off of how many full-time officers you have, part-time officers, police dogs, and your drones. And again, you'll see the blank on the drones and the unmanned aircraft. We apologize. They are just slow to quote that, and/or we may have to go out to an additional party. So your premium there, EMC is at $17,400 and travelers is at $29,100. Moving on to cyber and data, you're going to see that Travelers offers an extensive cyber coverage. You will see that in their proposal. So our thought process was if you saw significant dollars and changes, you could go to each individual proposal, and we have them itemized by the table of contents. You're going to see some of the different things that they offer. Otherwise, this comparison and presentation will probably be about 20 pages long. You guys would shoot me out the door. So, a couple of years ago, we did raise the cyber limit to $500,000. It was setting at $250,000. We did raise it at $500,000. Travelers is at $500,000. Both entities or both commercial companies would go up higher if you want. You'll see the identity recovery limit for travelers is $250,000, where EMC is only $25,000.
Is that the difference in the premium?
That is not all of the difference in the
But it's
premium.
making
They
up a lot.
offer a lot more coverages.
But it's making up some of it.
It is making up some of it. But I will tell you, Travelers is a very, very strong cyber coverage. Very strong. The deductible difference, EMC is a $10,000, where Travelers is a $5,000. I will tell you with Travelers for the cyber, they're going to request some things be put in place to make sure that those coverages are where they want them to be. So there will be some things that you'll have to apply to and accommodate with to make sure that those are covered. Some things, typically cyber coverages, they want an MFA. It's a multiple factor authentication. So you may see that when you log into something and then they're like, is this your phone number? We're going to send you a code and now you can get in. That keeps the cyber attacks a little bit off bay. It's a little bit harder. And, so your password isn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So.
And they just double up on the verification.
Right, they have that. They also want to know what you are doing security-wise, how you're doing it, and how they would request that you do it to beef it up as well.
It might request you to spend another $70,000 to fix your stuff.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, is the cost incurred is going to be pretty significant, maybe on some of the,
So some of those things we don't know because we aren't aware of what
right.
security measures that you have, how in detail they are, what you're doing. That would be in coordination with Travelers. We'd have to talk to them and say, okay, what are your requirements? How do you have it? Then us to meet with your IT. How do you have it? What are you doing it? And then we'd have to look at a cost factor.
Sure. This is what they're going to require, what's it going to cost to get to this point.
Right, or you may already have it.
It might already have
But there's just, as you guys know, you hear about every single day in the news, cyber attacks, be it whatever it is. I mean, it's extensive, and I think more and more with automation and AI and all of the technology, it's one of those things.
And Angela, I'd like to add a comment in there. Travelers is one of the original companies that came out with the cyber product. So they were one of the top 3. Josh, actually, to your point, you know this. Yes. Travelers was one of the top 3 companies when cyber first became a thing. You had to find that protection for yourself. So the Travelers form or the Travelers coverage is much broader because they are one of the starting points. They're one of the originals. So.
Ready to move on?
Well, there's such a thing as making it a separate policy altogether.
We could look into that if you want to do that
It's just
as a
thought.
cyber.
I don't know.
Well,
I know it's substantially more, but it sounds like you get substantially more out of it.
So it won't affect your umbrella because your umbrella doesn't go over cyber anyway. So those are some of the things that gets really tough when you're wanting to break out policies. But we could look at doing a separate cyber solution if you wanted to do that. But it's extensive, it's a lot of work, and you have to stay in compliance to make sure that you're doing it because...
You might talk to Brad. I know some of the things that are identified Brad's already doing. He came in several months ago and talked about the...
Just having to think about that after I asked that question. So.
I was actually speaking to Brad throughout this quoting process, we were working together on some of those touch and
differences.
Okay, all right.
If you want to do that, we'd be more than happy to meet with Brad. Okay.
Never mind.
Okay.
As soon as I said that, it's like, nah, I better talk to Brad.
Yep, you're fine. The last line of coverage that we have is the umbrella. And obviously it goes over another $1 million worth of coverage. You do have a retention of $10,000 and both entities both companies are that way. You can see the policies that are underneath the umbrella and those that are not. So your premium is $10,884 and your Travelers is $9,031.
The way the expenses are skyrocketing, and for our operation now, is $1 million enough?
For the umbrella?
Excess umbrella.
Well, the one thing that we did, we talked about this, is that you guys do have a tort law of 500,000, you know, in the state of Kansas. The problem is when you cross state lines, there are some factors there. So, we changed that to $1 million umbrella for maybe some of those incidentals if you're going across the state lines, but the big thing is that law enforcement goes and gets customers, listeners. Yeah, there you go.
Well, you go to 2 million, probably would increase the cost over $3,000 or $4,000.
We could do a quote for you and come back additionally, and if you want us to, okay?
2 million would do.
So Jackson, will you write that down?
It
So you
wouldn't
could do a
double
$2
the
million
premium
quote?
by law, is. I don't think it would.
Typically, it doesn't.
So your page 9, your estimated annual premium from EMC is the $455. Your travelers is $425,973. There is the optional wind buy down that Bobby explained to you, and that comes at a price tag of $74,924.
Which we
That's
don't need with EMC.
You don't? You have a 1% wind hail where travelers is 3.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If you wanted to add on the incidental malpractice, that is included with EMC, but not with travelers. That's additional $5,665.
So comparing apples to apples.
As much as
EMC
possible.
As much as possible, EMC is cheaper.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff.
Better value?
Better value, well, and the Travelers has some.
They do.
I mean,
They have,
there's some-
absolutely. There are some coverages there.
I'm just really concerned about not having that extra liability for the other outside departments
Mhm.
with travelers,
Mhm.
you know, now.
With the other entities.
Yeah,
And the other,
Yeah,
municipality entities.
yeah, that, because you're gonna get sued, and if you're connected,
You're gonna be brought in.
you're gonna be brought in.
But when I was running down these numbers on each one, you know, I came up with the Travelers had a $30,000 savings. And you look at this and $30,000 savings is what it added up to. But Travelers, then you add 2 more items to it.
And that doesn't include the drones. The drones are not in there as well.
Yeah.
On the Travelers.
On the Travelers.
Too bad you
EMC
can't pick
covers
that, too bad you can't pick.
Right?
Choose, go down.
A la carte.
Yeah, right, every section.
So with that being said, it's 11:06, so I don't know if I can allot for a little bit more time, but I would like to take maybe 5 or 10 more minutes, if that's okay. The one thing that we can look at is we need to look at autos over 10 years old. At one time, and I know the commission has changed, at one time the commission was like anything over 10 years old, we want liability only.
Didn't we stick to that? Because that was
But the
talked
commission,
about when I came on.
I know, but the commission changes every year, or sometimes every 2 or every 3 years, and we do not want to go ahead and do that automatically without your approval every year. I feel that's us doing our due diligence. I don't want someone coming back to me saying, who told you you could do that? And then the other item that I want to look at is the inland marine over 5,000, since the new 5,000 deductible, taking them off the policy. So if you will move to the EMC red tab, and we're going to start with the auto, which is on page, starts on page 30. I have 25.
25.
Okay.
Page 25.
My memory is failing.
I believe that including trailers and all autos, we're about 40 autos that are over 10 years of age. However, there's going to be some of these that are specific that you're saying, no, we want to have comp and collision on that because of, you know, is it a 5-ton truck, what have you. So if you look in the far right-hand side, you'll see the comprehensive deductible and the collision deductible. You'll see that there's no coverage. Those are just liability only. Those that have a $5,000 deductible on both sides for comp and collision, those are the ones that we are looking at that are over 2015. If they're older than 2015, those are some things that we can look at. If you want to go through these now, I'd be more than happy to do so. I know I'm going to take up a little bit more time, if that's okay. I don't know if we want to do this with department heads.
That's what I was gonna say.
It could get you're going to have, Tom, what has happened before in the past, and I have no problem with it, but they're going to say, well, you can't do that to this one, you can't do that to this one. If you want us to say, the commission wants us to come and address it with you, that anything over 2015, do we need to have full coverage on this vehicle? And then we can come back and respond to you guys and report to you what we have found with each department head. That is going to take a little bit more time, because we do have to have the cooperation of them to go through all of that.
Right.
I don't think it hurt to get the department heads involved myself, because everyone knows the value, the
Okay.
value of the
I know.
civic equipment.
Well, we've got all these, like for instance, all these heavy trucks and stuff that are in the road and bridge, or I assume that's where most of these are.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're talking some sizable value there, whereas even if they're considerably older than that. But, you know, if you have a Ford Edge or a F-150, then it almost could be looked at before then,
I know,
you know.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What we did change was, since I've been here, was the price of a used vehicle went up dramatically, so we did
Because of
change-
COVID.
We did change a lot of that, so.
That's a really good point, Tom.
I don't see a need to change a thing from my initial walkthrough, but you guys might wanna take a look, but
Yeah, at this point.
I remember that specifically after COVID, that
COVID.
prices of
Yeah, because that's when we put it out to
vehicle
market,
carriage
in
just went
2020.
up dramatically, that we changed a lot of things, I got to thinking about that, so. Correct.
I think that's correct, because the insurance wasn't gonna give us like as much money
Right.
for a vehicle that was wrecked or whatever, and so that's why you went back and made some changes.
Well, I mean, 2015 or 2010 or whatever, went from a value of 2,500 to
Eight,
9,000, so
Yeah.
that's why we changed a lot of those.
Yeah.
I know that now.
Angela, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so like I did see on here the 2014 Shark
What
trailer.
page are you on?
Oh, 25.
Okay,
It's number 18.
okay.
The 2014 Shark trailer, that's the one that I used only for elections, which this year we have 4 elections, most generally we have 2. But if I were to make that, change that to liability, and I were hauling my voting equipment, and something, God forbid, happened, but what would happen there?
Your voting equipment's separate. Remember, it's an inland marine.
Okay.
So your voting equipment's covered separately. Yeah.
I mean, worst
But
case
you're-
scenario would be on your vehicle insurance.
Yeah, depending,
The towed vehicle-
which
towed
is
vehicle.
separate, right, because it's in commercial, your trailer does not follow coverage on your hauling vehicle.
So maybe it's something that doesn't even need to have any coverage.
Right.
So if it's out of the landfill and the storm goes through and it's in the barn out there, would it be covered under the building or anything, or just?
No, it stands alone on its own.
So I guess I just have to see what a new trailer would cost, because,
Those aren't cheap either.
well, they may not,
Anymore.
it may be worth keeping it, I don't know.
I don't know how long it is. Is it 2-axle or 1-axle? It's 2-axle, isn't it? Or it's
Yes,
single?
that's true. I think,
Let's see what
it's single, you're right. Yeah, it's single.
And again, in
Probably
business
maybe
auto,
12,
it's
12,
actual
13.
cash value. I think
Probably
that has been a concern
10.
before in the past.
Yeah, it'd be under 10 if it's single axle.
It's
Checking
probably
these
worth
vehicles,
keeping
it's-
extra.
It's older than 10 years, or we have
There's about 40 of them.
there's 24 vehicles that's 10 years or older. And the sheriff's department's only got 1, and
Right.
it's the big bear.
Right. And it's already for a stated value of
So you
180,000.
wouldn't have to talk to the sheriff's department. so-
Nope.
I almost say leave it alone.
No action on the autos?
I wouldn't, nope. Given the price of vehicles today and all like that,
Okay.
and we did that change just here within the last 3 years,
I think you'd be better off, you'd probably see more of a savings changing it to a $10,000 deductible than a $5,000 deductible versus uninsurance some of these vehicles.
Would you like us then to give you guys a quote, come back with a quote for $10,000 deductible comp and collision?
Yeah,
You can do that too.
it'd be worth looking at it.
Yeah.
It might be a substantial savings,
Or maybe.
or maybe not.
Okay.
But at least we know.
I mean, my thing is the county has the money for the deductibles. Why are you spending so much money on premiums when you can bring up your deductibles and absorb that expense?
Take more of the risk.
And you're gonna have
Mhm.
less, you're gonna be paying more out of pocket, you're gonna have less going to your insurance, there's gonna be less claims.
Mhm.
I mean, hell, my company
Frequency.
runs $10,000 deductible.
Well, that's the only reason that I see for maybe eliminating a few more is because the county could stand to lose them
Exactly.
on some of, you know.
Exactly.
That's a good
I
point.
don't know where they're at here, like, and I don't know where did I see it at? There was like some 11, like on number 13, 2006 Silverado.
On page 26.
Yes. So, you know, you take $5,000 deductible out of that vehicle, I think it ought to be off of there myself. I mean, unless it's something that's not being represented there. I mean, like the one above it's a 1-ton, you know. But,
Right.
But, I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know the miles, you don't know the miles, you don't know the, I mean, the
That's
condition
right.
of the vehicle.
See, I don't.
You know.
But, you know, that's, you know, especially if we kick it up to 10, well then,
Might not be
then it's
worth it.
stupid having it on there.
Exactly,
You
exactly.
take a look.
Yeah. I mean,
What,
that-
what you think?
yeah.
I don't
So
know.
if you would like, Wade, we can meet, or if it's the commission's desire, we can meet with the department heads and say, okay, we're gonna go over, you know, ahead of time. We'll send them the email of their list of vehicles. Obviously, the sheriff's department, we only have one vehicle, I believe, and that's not necessary. Send them their list of the auto, state, you know, please look at this. If you feel it needs to have comp and collision on that, is the
Right,
value worth
right.
it? If the deductible was $5,000, if the deductible was $10,000.
Right.
We could get some
Right.
feedback. We could
Yeah.
bring back a quote for 10,000 and then some feedback of what each department
They might
stated.
have a little explanation as to
Right.
why.
Or they may be like,
Needs insurance
yeah.
on it.
I think
But liability
that'd be
only.
good. I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay, all right. That is gonna take a little bit more time, but we will get that, and no matter
Yeah.
what company that you go with, we can always make those changes after
Well, I
Jan
hate to
1.
make it more difficult, but, you know, I hate wasting money on
Nope,
a
I agree,
premium where you
I
end up,
understand.
You need an
Take-
answer.
you know.
No,
Just end of year, first year. When's the renewal? date?
1/1.
1/1, I thought it was the year.
Okay,
So you've got some time to.
Absolutely,
Fine.
yep.
okay.
Okay, so we will move forward on that with the autos. Let's talk about the inland marine. That is on page 32. Bobby went over those in detail about those coverages, but flip over to page 33. You'll see where it says contractor's equipment and then value 5,000 or less. All of these items are 5,000 and less in the coverage that they have for insurance. The only thing you say, okay, why is that on there then if our deductible's up? It's a catastrophic loss. If we had a tornado come through and hit all of them.
Okay. So it'd be one deductible on these.
Yes.
What's the premium amount? For inland?
The premium amount for the inland marine scheduled is,
It's 30 cents per hundred of value. So that first page that we're looking at on page 33, for all of those pieces, to have them insured is costing $256 annual
For each one.
combined.
combined.
Oh, $256.
Okay.
Total for all those line
Okay.
items.
Okay, well,
That's awesome.
that's pretty insignificant.
Yeah.
Do you need that?
So the next page is your $5,001 to $50,000. Bobby, do you have a premium amount on that? Or no? And while she's getting that, you can see from the other pages, we just, 34 and 35 are the 5,000 to the 50,000 amount. Your big ticket items are page 36 and 37, over $50,000 in value. And as Bobby had stated before, she's worked with the department heads effective January of last year on getting these values up to date. So your 5,000 and under, your deductible is $256 a year. That's what it's costing you. Basically coverage in a catastrophic loss.
So on page 36 down here under the motor graders, you got one line here that just says motor grader. So is that a machine that we have, or is that?
Yes.
Okay, so probably need a little more description on it, I suppose.
Right.
The excavator.
Well,
The
yeah,
same
it
with the
doesn't say if it's a
excavator.
Cat, if it's a
Yeah,
John Deere,
or at least, you know, the unit number.
You have several of them down below as well. Yeah, you do have
Yeah.
a motor grader for a B27,
Yeah,
but more clarification.
And we can definitely expand that data. Angela, can I add one thing?
Sure, absolutely.
One of the things that I know had come up in the past is if we have equipment that is attached to a truck. In the event a pickup has a claim, the deductible for the pickup applies to the pickup. If there is attached equipment, attached, it is not permanently affixed. So if it's like one of the service trucks that has the crane unit and the utility bed, that's permanently attached. It's not something you can easily pick up and walk away with. If it has a generator, if it has a welder, if it has something else attached to the pickup bed, just with a bungee strap or a ratchet strap or something, in the event of a loss, that equipment would not be included in your auto claim. It then becomes an equipment claim. So you could have one vehicle with two policies activated between the auto and the equipment.
and two deductibles.
Right. Because in that situation, her current deductible rule doesn't apply because we're activating two policies.
he can tip it upside down and shake it, and it falls out, it's matted, it's the other deductible. It's the other claim.
Look at that.
Same as your house.
We can just say that big air compressor was bolted down.
If it's folded down, it's folded down.
And, yes, and it is.
I mean, a lot of times your generators are, your pressure compressors are.
Welders are bolted down.
Welders, same way, yeah.
It's always kind of a, I would say fun argument, but it's always an interesting argument when you're talking with someone, they're like, what does it mean by permanently attached? Because that can vary depending on who you're talking to.
So we can keep the inland marine as is, because this has been updated and you are looking at $256 for that whole first page. If you would like us to go into any more detail for you, we can. But we just wanted to let you know the differences since the deductible was raised from $2,500 to $5,000.
No problem. We've got $100,000 drill, I don't wanna see that thing fly. I want that.
I know we brought you a lot of information, and we're a little behind, but it's a lot of data. I will tell you that we did have some work comp carriers that declined due to the mod rate. So we were going to have some other standalones that were coming in. We did have some other carriers that we put it out to market, and they did not like the new building that's being across just due to the risk factor. Some carriers are okay with it, some aren't. And so there for a while, we were like, oh, okay, well, we'll do this one here and then we felt that it was losing the integrity of your policy. To keep it all together is more important, especially when you're dealing with carriers and coverages and umbrellas.
Because they're attached, you mean, or what's their objection?
The total value.
The total value of the
Some
building.
insurance companies aren't able to absorb large property schedules.
Okay.
They don't have the capacity to protect you.
The blanket is significant dollars.
Right, right. a discussion, I think maybe it was last week, that myself and another commissioner were having. Obviously, we want the best deal we can get. So, the discussion was your markup. Am I correct? Like when I deal with my commercial insurance, say my agent puts out, he ties down this company and this company and this company, and then I used to think, well, that's no competition because another agent, you know, couldn't take those. But the bottom line is this the same way with yours, that if we get a bid from Travelers, then that's going to be the same bid that any other agent bid Travelers? Is that correct?
As long as they are bidding the same numbers.
Right.
If their data is exactly the same, then that's how it is.
So
We get
that's-
paid from the company, we are not
Right.
charging that on to you.
So that's what I wanted to try to
Absolutely.
explain, was that your markup isn't determined by you.
Correct.
It's, if you're bidding, you went out and you looked for a whole bunch of different companies here.
Mhm.
And, you know, our goal, or at least my goal, I think everybody else's too, we want to do business locally.
Mhm.
But you're going to supply us the same bid, if we're looking item per
Absolutely.
item, as any other agent that Travelers or EMC wrote this policy with,
Right.
correct?
Yes. Now, there are some entities or brokerages like us that are in the city, and they'll do a fee for service. And they can, every single thing, they can do additional charges. We do not do that. We do not do a consulting fee. There are companies, I know, you know, I belong to a lot of different entities in the U.S., and in the bigger cities, they do consulting fees per each line. They do a fee per each certificate that you request. Fees, and fees, on top of the commission that they receive. We do not do
Yeah.
that at
Very
Trust
good.
Point Insurance.
I just wanted to try to
No, I
clarify that,
absolutely
because
appreciate
like in
that.
my case, it used to really annoy me. I said, well, you guys are tying all these companies up, no other agent can bid these.
That's
I'm like,
correct.
no, you don't understand. As long as they're insuring you for the same amount,
Same amount.
the cost is gonna be the same regardless of the agent. So,
True. True.
so,
Yes.
so by you shopping several different companies, we're getting the best deal possible.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're not charging any extra fees.
We're not charging any extra fees.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify
Yes,
that
no, I
for
appreciate
everybody.
that. Thank you so much.
Back to the mod rate, you still got some companies you're waiting on?
No.
Okay, I thought you,
No, we just had companies that denied us, declined it because of the mod rate.
Wouldn't touch us with a 10-foot pole.
I had a major incident one time. It was a struggle waiting there for a while. Bobby could testify to that.
It's no fun when
No.
you're
So
on the
you
dirty
were,
list.
at one time, you guys did get to a 1.0, and we worked really hard to try to get that down. But EMC since then, and I believe it was like maybe 8 or 9 years ago, EMC has put a lot of those safety measures in, and the on-call nurse, and
Well, it looks like a lot of our claims have gone up substantially due to litigation, I believe, so.
yes.
That we're
It is what it is.
Yeah, we're seeing that increase in medical. I mean, even just
Yeah.
going to the doctor, you know, medical visits are increasing, fees, like I said, attorneys are increasing and getting more involved. We joked in the beginning about the ones on TV, you know, interact, need to check. I mean, they're a real thing, and they are very.
Same with workman's comp. You got workman's comp lawyers out there running, chasing the ambulance around.
So Dawn, back to your question about is $1 million enough for umbrella? It's a very hard question to answer because it's hard to know what is enough. You know, how much do you need to protect yourself from someone?
But the municipality tort law is some saving graces. We can, I'm sure, attest to. So, about $5,000.
Yeah. I'm
$500,000.
not worried about it.
Per person, though.
Right. Per event.
Right?
Per event, yeah.
Or
And your
per event.
tort law is of the state of Kansas for municipalities.
You can't sue you for more than $500.
But if there's multiple people in the vehicle.
Oh, well, Ottawa's a little bit different when you're going across the line. Yeah, the tort law is going to, and I'll let Ray talk a little bit more if you need to, but reflects on what what state you're in at that time, correct? It applies to whatever state that's in, so if another state's tort law's higher, because that's where we did the umbrella to have that extra $500,000 worth of coverage. Any
Very nice.
questions?
Looks like the EMC went out again.
We will work on the autos and get back. We've got some additional quotes for umbrella. I know we need to add on another property that Angie just told us about, that you guys just got.
Yeah.
So we'll add that on. We'll give you some of those different changes, and then we'll schedule some time to come back and meet with you guys prior
Okay.
to.
Very good.
Awesome.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
All right, and so, we don't know when we're gonna be back, so with saying that, we brought you guys a little, holiday cheer. They are, Bluetooth speakers. It's got Coffee County on them. And actually, the top is a charger, phone charger, which you can do wireless. So, we'll be giving those to department heads as well, just like we, give a little holiday cheer for that.
Okay.
So, if you guys don't have any questions, we will go ahead and leave. All right, thanks so much.
Thanks very much.
Angie, we'll just follow up with you when we get some of that follow-up data, so we know when we're going to come back. Yep, thank you.
I suppose now would probably be a good time as ever to address the boxes that was just handed out to us.
Is that something we need to address?
I would think it would probably be a good practice, not to, am I correct, Wade?
Yeah, so our policy talks about receiving items such as this.
Okay.
And it's,
If we need to take them back, that's not a problem.
it's done for good reason, but I think the optics of it probably aren't very good.
Okay,
Because we're not supposed to accept gifts, if you will,
okay,
in the policy manual.
sounds good. We were just giving them to the departments as well. It was a good faith. It wasn't based on anything different than that.
I think if they were donated to the county and then they became wellness awards that people could receive that way, I don't see an issue with that.
We have no problem donating those.
Because you're on the board or in this room or a department head, you get it
Sure.
and all the other employees don't, then I think it's,
Right, we were giving them to department heads as well.
Sure.
Yeah, we will be more than happy. We can take these all back and then we will donate them. Absolutely, no, we want to make sure that we are not doing anything, that's perceived differently than what they
Well,
would
it's really no different than somebody inviting us to a barbecue in Kansas City.
And we don't go.
And we don't,
Because
we don't go, yeah.
We'd like to.
Those
No,
are real things.
I absolutely understand.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to roll team and barbecue, but
Smell it every day.
No, we didn't go.
ain't happened.
Alright, that sounds
Thank you for-
good.
Thank you for the thought.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you. Yeah,
absolutely.
no,
No, we have no problem. We'll donate them to, Coffee County and then you guys can disperse them accordingly.
Okay, that'd
I
be
donate them
keeps
to the
their-
wellness department
Okay.
or the wellness
Down.
committee.
Yeah, they do.
The wellness committee, who is in charge of?
Amelia.
Okay, and the health department, we'll just go down there and take it to there.
This keeps everything totally clean for us.
We 100% understand. I totally get that. So, anyway, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
Jimmy.
Yeah, have a great
Apparently that's
Thanksgiving.
so sweet. All right,
Thank
you guys
you.
as well. Bye. Bye.
All right. We're roundtable.
We already talked about the building and the sheriff's sale. We had a department head meeting last Tuesday. We have them once a month. One of the things that has been talked about, probably now is a good time for it to be discussed, is at the end of the year, as you know, there's a max time you can carry over, going into the next year for vacation and sick time. Vacation and sick time have been discussed, but I'm gonna focus on vacation. Several departments have employees who get to the point where they don't take time off, or they take minimal time off, and then they end up having to take a good part of the month of November, if not all of the month of December off, because it's either you use it or lose it. So it's been a discussion about bringing it before the board to consider a vacation payout for those who, an option for vacation payout for those who hit that max and they would rather be at work than they would sitting at home just to burn time. The only people employees who this would apply to are those who have been here and not taking the time. I think it would probably be just a handful of employees. I don't know those numbers for certain, but there's several departments where they're gonna have to borrow from other departments because those employees that they have that would qualify for this, they've gotta take the time off. Or they could come in and just lose that time, which I'm not sure is fair to them either. So this is a seed planting opportunity, as I call it, so you can think about that. There's some that would like for the board to consider it present time, but it may be too far into the year to consider that, so it would have to
It really is.
be something for you to consider for next year. So
I just gotta stand for a minute, sorry.
Well, a long time ago, I think it was probably my first year, I put into the seed planning to buy their vacation back if they was wanting to sell it. And I would still be for that, even on the outgoing, because if they're obviously they're a great employee, or they wouldn't be working all the time and not wanting to take time off. So the reward to them would be take the pay and still work. And it's a benefit to the county as well, to have that employee there. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents worth on it.
No, I agree. My pushback was on the sick leave. I wasn't in favor of that, but I'm in favor of, as far as buying the time, because you're right, with employees like those are the type of employees that you want.
Yes.
Well, apparently we have a need for them, or we hope we do.
Yeah.
Because they're employed. So why do we want to basically make them stay home?
Right.
When they're, for some of those departments, like Road and Bridge and recycling and everybody, it's, can be a busy time of year.
Sure.
For them trying to trade help back and forth, so I'm sure in favor of that, but I'm with you. I have no interest in the sick leave.
In the sick leave part
Because
of it.
then that opens up,
Yeah.
in my opinion, a whole different set of problems.
I
If
was-
we start offering that.
Talking to one of the people with Road and Bridge at the Thanksgiving dinner, and he said that was his last day, he was off till the first year.
Right,
Wow.
and Ryan's good with, the department head is good with that, because they've got enough help to cover, everybody, but another department that's involved is going to cause a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the suggestion was made, and I didn't mean to,
no,
the suggestion was made, well, the one department could borrow from Road and Bridge, but the thing is that if that happens, and say we have a snowstorm or whatever, that could
Road
cause.
and Bridge is busy.
Then Road and Bridge is busy. I mean, there's, and like I say, Ryan's good, I mean, he's good with everything the way it is right now, but he's not adverse to having that time bought back either. I mean, he's certainly open for discussion on that.
I think it's two things that the people will be here to work, and in my opinion, say 90% of the time, those people are your good people, a little extra reward for them too.
Yeah,
If they're dedicated and
and
they
that's the way I
work
look
all
at it.
year, then, you know.
Well, you know, it's coming in Christmas time, they might want a little extra money, and they can sell 2 weeks of their vacation or whatever back and get a little extra money and roll on.
And it was also brought up, you know, it could ding the budget, but I'm not sure that it's going to have that big an effect on
the county budget.
I don't think it's going to be that big an effect on it. I don't think there's going to be that many people involved.
Yeah, there isn't a whole lot.
Yeah, the numbers weren't.
Right, the numbers aren't.
Significant.
I count them on one hand.
Yeah.
Just one and a half,
Yeah.
one and a half hands.
I think that number may grow a little bit, and I'm the one that's a little bit opposed to the buyout. How many people might come just for the sake of coming and maybe not having a lot of work to do? And it's probably a small amount, Steve, I fully understand that. You know, if the board wants to lean that way, I have no problem leaning in a buyout program, except the sick leave, sick leave, I'm not in favor of.
Yeah,
But
I'm not in favor of that at all.
I can support the buyout, and I'm not gonna say it needs to be done on an annual basis till you see what happens and what direction it goes. So, it may be one of those policies you do it year for year, but that probably wouldn't fit either, so if you establish a policy, it probably needs to be one that just kind of
I
stays.
need it fair to implement it into the handbook myself.
Yeah, I would
Too
too.
much, wait,
I would be in favor of implementing it into the handbook and it be policy.
I do too.
I don't think it wants to be an annual,
Yeah,
annual
because
approval.
then they won't know how to plan the year.
Yeah.
Exactly. And quite honestly, I'm not sure that those people that take the time off now, I think probably they plan for that, or
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be an increase.
I don't think you'd see much of an
If it
increase.
is, I'll have to agree, I think if it is, Steve, it'd be minimum.
Then it'd have to be addressed later on, I guess.
Yeah, it's got to be a problem, it just has to be addressed.
Right.
Our employees are most valuable asset.
They are.
Our turnover is very low, you know, we got some retirements, and those are because most of those people have been here 20 or 30 years, so,
Sure.
our turnover's very, very good, very low.
And I think our department heads manage very well as far as their people and take care of the business like it should be, so.
Very good.
There you are.
Just for, I guess to put a cherry on it, it's those hours over the max that someone can carry over because you get to that max, and then anything above that is what you can't carry over.
Right.
And I forget what that max is, I confuse vacation and sick.
Was it 160?
560.
Nine.
Yeah,
Nine
also-
sixty.
Five, can't remember.
So that.
Is this something we need to take care of
Well, you wanna
and
see.
put into the handbook?
Yes.
If it's a consensus of the board, and make it effective this year?
It would help. One department is probably not going to make any difference, but the other department it would be a big help too. I think I'm saying.
I think you're right. I think it's what we discussed here a while back.
Yeah.
So are you, something will need to be put in writing, but are you wanting it to apply for this calendar year or to begin starting January 1 of next year? And the reason I asked, some of the discussion with the department heads, if you change it now, some people have already scheduled and taken their time versus others who just had it planned to take off.
I would say make it 2025.
Okay.
That was.
That way they know
Consensus,
going into it.
It is, because at that particular meeting, it was brought out that it's probably too late in the year to make a change, so the seed's being planted, and that's how it came about.
Yeah, no, we couldn't get the change made this year,
Right.
effective next year.
Right.
Just let the commission in January reevaluate it.
Well,
We was talking about doing it now, and then it'd go into effect on the first of the year.
it'd be in effect going into the first of the year.
However you want to do it.
Well, you're gonna have to get it put in the handbook. You have to get it.
Yeah, well, And if it is gonna be, the intent is to start it the next calendar year, then there's not a rush to get it done.
Right. Other than it'll be here before we know it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this discussion, because people watch these meetings, will answer some of those questions, and it may generate some phone calls to one of you or more of you, or me, or Angie, I guess all of the above.
Yeah.
But people can plan their next year accordingly, because some people probably schedule vacation time during the year so they can burn their time. And now they'll have that additional option if that's what happens in January. And Angie would probably be the one to talk about any budget impact, if any, if that will need to be something that each department will need to take into consideration for budgeting purposes as well.
Or a buyout of vacation?
For those who are above the max, and instead of having to take the max or lose it, in smaller departments, it won't be as big of an issue, but some of the bigger departments, if there's a significant buyout at the end of each year, and the main ones I'm thinking road and bridge or sheriff, then that's something that could, I don't want to say a budget buster, but
Well, I would probably recommend, if they did their estimates, so let's just say next year, for instance, that they do their estimate for their budget for 2026, but then they could be paid for 2025 in 2026 after the first of the year maybe, because that way they'll have a pretty good idea, as long as they get it in their 2026 budget, they'll have a pretty good idea by July of next year maybe what they may want to pay out, but then do it in the first of the next year. Does that sound right? Because
Yeah, to prepare for that.
we're not going to have anything we're not going to be able to pay anything this next
Right.
year.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say that would probably be the best way to handle that, is that they put it in their 2026 budget in July 2025, and then pay it out the first of the next year.
Okay.
So for 2025, they would not be able to pay out any, they wouldn't be able to do any buyout.
They would, it would just take place in January of 2026.
For the previous year.
Yeah,
I got you.
because they'll have to budget in July.
For their next year.
Because right now, we won't, I mean, we're in 2020, we already got 2025 budget done, and so we aren't gonna be able to come up with any extra funds.
Right.
And so if you started it next year, then you could, or I guess you could always wait until the end of the next year if you put it in the 2026 budget, but I would think you could pay it out in that January and then just kind of be on that cycle.
Yeah.
okay, that's all I got.
There's your watering on the seed planting.
Good.
That's all you got for today?
That's why you plant seeds. You got them under the weather. You want me to have something more?
I'm good. We got plenty of checks. So I'm good. Steve, Roundtable?
Nothing today. Maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
Yeah.
Dawn? I'm good to go. Wade?
I'm easy.
Mr. Tom?
We discussed it earlier about the roof at Lee Bell's and the path I asked Laura to go down. I'm gonna make this statement last week, but I didn't do it. As far as industrial solar, you know, there's several things that property owners are doing to property that I don't agree with, like they lease it to out-of-state hunters to where locals can't hunt it. I don't agree with that, I don't like it, but that's that landowner's right, that's his prerogative. So I'm just not gonna tell somebody what they can do with their property.
We're parking 85 junk vehicles on it.
Yeah. I mean, they can get a special use permit, park whatever they want on it. You know? What's the difference? What's the difference? I know a lot of land being tied up to out-of-state hunters. We used to be able to hunt, can't hunt anymore. Not happening. I'm not happy with that, but
There's a lot of land tied up, Tom.
there's a lot, that's their prerogative.
We got a huge amount down in our area, but it is their right if they wanna do it, so.
Yeah, they can make extra money and pay the taxes, more power to them. That's all I have.
Okay. Angie?
Well, we'll be closed this Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving, holiday, so we've got that posted, it's advertised in the paper, and so make a public announcement. We had our Thanksgiving dinner for employees last week, which was a great success, so.
It was
again,
very nice.
Thank you all, and
Very nice.
food was good, so. Another thing that, I've been thinking about for a while, I was just curious in my own mind, how much property taxes have gone up over a period of time. And since the tax statement just came out last week, I was able to go in and I just picked out a random $120,000 home or whatever, and I thought, I'm just gonna go see what did this X individual's property taxes increase or decrease over the years. And so from 2021 until 2024, so that's 23-year time frame.
2001?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
2009 to 2024, with decreases along the way, increases along the way, and all of that. Their property taxes in 2001 was $1,011. This year, they're $1,995. So you're looking at, over the course of 23 years, we've had an increase of, overall, with it $900.
Is that in 244 district?
It is in 244.
That township,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
school district?
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to say that Coffee County's done a really good job of holding it down, even though we have seen some increases, but we've seen a lot of decreases too throughout that 23 years. So I just thought it was good information to put out there.
In the last few, I've been to evaluations of property passed down by the state, so
Right.
out of our control.
Yeah, we can't change that.
Yeah, and actually, 2008, they would have had an increase of $200 in that year. Compared to this year, it's a $100 increase. So,
And that's 2008, Angie.
yeah. So, like I said, it was just knowledge for everybody that
Nice job.
over the years.
Flip some homeowners.
Huh?
Acknowledgement for the homeowners.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see it go up, but that's.
No, but,
You know, if expenses here, like, just use road and bridge for an example, the cost of equipment, cost of any equipment for any department, as far as that goes. So,
well, and I
the
think,
dollar amount has to go up.
right.
Nobody wants it,
But I think if you look at some other counties around us, you would see a much higher
but, oh, yeah.
increase than what we've had here, so.
Those people that are wanting to sell their residency are so glad that the increases happened in the last 10 years, but the other side of it is only 4 or 5% want to sell, so
Well, the way it's been, like, even with the appraised value, a house will be sold for more than the appraised value.
Right.
yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to ask you is that the swearing in will be January 13th. And Judge Wine has to be in Osage. I didn't know, I mean, I can do it. The clerk's done it in the past, many years ago, whatever, and when I got in as clerk, I just started having the judge do it. But I didn't know if you guys wanted to come at 8 o'clock. I don't know if he could even do a little later, like 8:30. But if you want him to do it, do you want to start the meeting earlier like that, or what would you prefer?
What day?
January 13th.
He could do it earlier.
Yes.
Oh, I'm looking at last year.
He probably starts court at 9:30 in Osage.
And they said he starts at 9. I talked with him.
But he would be good at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Then you've got an hour until your normal meeting time, so, I mean, I don't know.
That'd be fine.
I think that's all right.
So you gotta start the meeting earlier?
You'd have to.
Although you're up before then.
Because you
anyway,
have to
so-
come in and you have to start the meeting to
Mhm.
approve the minutes, so that you can sign the last.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Can we do it any earlier?
Well,
Everybody's up early anyway.
yeah, I mean, I'm good with things. I get up at 4 o'clock anyway, so that's.
I was just meaning sooner. I meant earlier, like in the year. Like,
Oh.
next week. No, I'm good next week.
I see what you.
OUT
I
hours.
thought you were talking time.
Yeah.
Well, if anything changes with this, but I just wanted to kind of ask now, because that way we're on his schedule, and,
Yeah,
and like I said, if something changes, then we'll move it maybe later or whatever.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Other than that, just check the vouchers, finish up.
Good. I don't have any roundtable. I visited with Ryan about the tree at 21st and Half Mile Lane. But, other than that, I don't have anything. Do checks and vouchers and get out of here.
I'll take a short break.
Yeah, me
We'll
too.
take a short break. Take a 10-minute break. You gotta be gone at what time, Tom, too? You gotta be there too?
I have to be there.
Okay. Oh, get up.
To be optimistic.
Alright, we're back. Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard to be optimistic. Is there on a sheet for everybody?
This is the,
I'm having trouble picking them up.
deductions for,
Payroll.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just whatever employees.
But I thought there was a big sheet that everybody signs, and
Oh,
then these people initial.
yeah.
This would be the second time.
We do.
Alright.
I should.
Let me, I'll throw it
I
on.
don't know.
I'm sorry.
And I didn't grab some from you, did I?
I don't know.
I know last month it wasn't in it
She might
either.
have forgotten,
Hey, you got this one.
because it's a separate thing you gotta go print off.
So you know, right?
I'm blind. I'm
Right
blind.
after swearing in, we gotta appoint a chairman and a vice chairman.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, gentlemen.
Yeah. So I've been told.
So we missed the 15-year, Jennifer Gigan.
Who misspelled it? Unfortunately.
They must be stuck together like.
Yeah, they are, because I'm having trouble myself, huh? And I'm picking them up and they're still.
We just had one over there.
And I'll send them down here to Don, he'll go through them again.
Just next time, initial it for me.
Okay, I can do that.
He's the one that catches them when we're outside. I
I try to do my part down here at the end.
Man, he's just so,
You do that, McCary. You're doing it.
Yeah.
outside of a few other items, though, he's
What's this one saying?
very, repetitious and mundane.
Yeah, there's lots of these that I'm sure people watching think, well, hell, they're not even looking at some of them. Well, you can see the name
Wellness
amount
or
on them.
boots
I was
or
gonna say
Yeah.
boots, wellness.
Yeah.
contract labor for lawyers.
Yeah.
Preventive wellness, yeah, okay, we owe that $25. I don't have to look at that twice. Oh, hey, there's another one, $25. How about that?
I'll just select deduction.
Poll workers,
Yeah.
poll workers vouchers.
Vehicle maintenance,
Yeah.
it is what it is, fuel
Yeah.
cards,
There
utilities.
ain't many choices, is there?
No.
We owe it, we pay it.
Yep.
Some of these have been, we've already voted on this, like this is, yeah. Programs, computer programs and whatnot. So we've already approved, just finally getting the bill on. Fuel,
Yeah. Hell, a rattlesnake's a little nicer.
hospital for the jail.
I don't know what that was.
That was about.
Got it.
Just got done talking about one, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was we talking about? Oh, blood pressure and that
No,
Yeah,
Yellowstone last night.
Enter on these employee benefits. Claims that, who signs off? American United Life Insurance. Sent to your office for
Yeah. What
is it?
employee benefits.
That's for the,
Damn, you're running over me here, Betty.
Well, it's like I say, they're just normal mundane
Yeah, same old deal.
fuel
Water.
bills,
We probably gotta pay the water bill, don't we?
utilities, and other medical
life
expenses
insurance for county employees.
through the health system or the jail.
Yeah.
All of our employees on life insurance, surely be more than that. Of course, that may be a quarterly pay or annual, but I don't remember seeing it before. But that's not
Only
generally
expense.
seen.
Short-term disability.
Yeah, it's on short-term disability, that life insurance policy.
Yeah, that's our,
That's what it is, a short-term disability?
yeah.
Terry put it in, and I didn't even get a look at it to sign it for you, but that's what it is, so.
Okay, thanks.
This is what your signature on, Tom, or Wade. Professional planning service for the solar energy.
What's that for?
So it's done by Russ. Regulations, general planning, related consultations, Coffee County, we have to look at.
Oh, that's because Heidi brought that in and asked me to sign it. That's what it was.
Last week.
Yeah,
Last week.
before the meeting.
Before the meeting.
Okay, I couldn't figure out what it
Yeah,
was we was
yeah,
talking
or
about.
Russ, I mean.
But yeah,
Right, Heidi brought that in, and, Tom and Wade, Tom and Jess were gone, I think.
yeah.
I can't remember.
She just asked
She
somebody to
just
sign
asked,
it.
right,
I
and you were
signed it,
next in
yeah.
line.
Right.
31 hours at $100 and half an hour.
Associated with solar by myself.
Do what?
Just remember, right after the first year, you gotta elect a new chairman and vice chairman.
Yeah, I think there's some.
Put the new guy at the helm.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Huh? I should have spoke a little soft.
Well, that doesn't mean it's new.
Here's one.
So I see about Peter. Peter said he'd be a new commissioner, but he's not new to the situation.
He's been to a couple meetings.
Been to a few meetings.
Yeah,
Here's one, Angela. Computer information concepts for
CIC, yeah.
46, what's that?
You guys approved that last week, that was for our county financial system. You guys made a motion last week to approve that.
That's attorney.
Oh, good one. Pardon?
What? Ask a question and then.
Have I signed that yet?
No, but they all need to.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was the one they have no whatever. Thinking about meeting out.
Me too. Me too.
Meeting out,
Meeting.
just for the day or period?
For today.
Choose a lot of gas.
Do what?
Our farmers choose a lot of gas.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's your sign, these.
Well, you're gonna try and overrun me over here.
Well, these are all like membership dues.
Just take your right hand.
This was in that.
Well, I think I'm catching up, and then you got me another stack there when I get my
Oh, did I
stack
already
in,
take
so I'm
one?
not getting.
Yeah, we already did one
Okay.
back.
I may be holding my own, but I'm not
Yeah, we already
getting
did one
it.
I
back.
don't know how many membership dues things I've seen in my
Oh, my
5 years.
Yeah, it's kind of Evergy here, I suppose they want their numbers, but we're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we're gonna say no.
yeah.
I mean, if it is something I do look at it, but
Yeah,
you usually got a good explanation.
I look at the name and I look at the amount, and that's it. Then if it's something in question, I dig deeper.
A lot of membership renewals right now.
Yeah.
I think we go on to everything, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Contract attorneys. Internet expense. Bond expense.
Yeah, percentage fees or.
I think, Angie, there's a loose paper in here for Cook Plumbing that says 6250, but that's on this sheet. So I
It
think,
is?
I think it just didn't
Okay,
get stapled in with it.
we'll fix it.
You look at it, I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same amount anyhow. Thank you.
Scanning equipment here for our judge, 13,000.
Tell him no.
Bank scanning, old CR and TR files, and scan traffic documents to electronic files. Looks like they're putting everything into electronic.
That way when the internet goes down, they can't do anything.
Yeah. 4 or 4 of them. Network. Pretty thick just for one signature, man.
Yeah.
You can read what all the phone calls, man.
I suppose it'll change anything, will it?
No. Cat excavator there.
I'm just curious on this scanning thing, it says back scanning old files, I bet they're going back and,
I bet they are too.
getting everything up to date, I would assume,
I bet they're going back quite a few years.
back quite a few years.
Here's one for Sheriff's Department, Annual Law Enforcement Policy Manual. It seems like, I know it's good, I ain't no argument on that, but it seems like that shows up about every 5 or 6 months.
Expense on the wall.
You guys do anything with economic development last week?
We wish to bring number 1 applicant back in, and I talked to Ron this morning. And she hadn't reached out to him as of yet.
She hadn't,
Or he hasn't gotten back to her, I can't remember which one he said. Okay.
if we were gonna try to do that this week,
Yeah.
if that person was available, is my recollection, right?
Yeah. Number 5 candidate.
Number one.
Oh, is that the one down?
The number one candidate we were gonna ask to come back in, the local person.
Well, that local person's name?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's candidate.
candidate one, for sure.
Yeah.
Seems like it's number 5, but I thought they were all.
Candidate 5.
Yeah. Second, he was the last one to come in.
Okay, I've got to come in and just spend half a day cleaning out my desk drawer here.
You know, my file cabinet's full of stuff.
I need,
Save that. Yeah.
I need to ask Mark what he wants me to say to him.
Hometown pie and the homemade barbecue, this was a good investment as far as I'm concerned. That was good.
Food is very good.
Yeah, it was.
I had a good day deer hunting Thursday.
Did you?
I did. Even better Friday, but Thursday was good, but it was iffy at dark.
Yeah.
I was worried.
Man, they're really moving.
Boy, they are.
Holy smoke.
Kind of on the question.
You know, Angie, on the Hogman, 200 plates at 14.
About to go on rate.
Yeah, but 200's not right.
Well, because we planned for people to take some home for their spouses and some
There-
brought their spouses.
That's what we ordered.
The question was, is that still 200? I know the Hogman does a good job, quality food.
I think you plan for so many, I mean, that's what you got to do, is plan for so many.
Yeah, and, you know, I might have made a mistake, but I didn't ask you guys if you still wanted to include spouses, but I just went ahead and went with what we've been doing.
But that's always,
I'm
that's,
fine.
yeah, I'm fine. That's the way it's always been done, hasn't it?
Well, you started it in, 2020,
Oh.
I think.
Yeah.
Could have been before that. It might have been before that, that they started allowing spouses to the Thanksgiving dinner. So,
First year I was here, spouses could come.
Doing
Yeah.
what, Tom?
First year I was here, spouses could come.
so maybe in the future, I'll make sure to ask that question, if they want to allow for spouses or not, so.
Well, for that type of fee, I personally feel like it needs to have a turnkey job. 5 plates, the whole
Okay.
ball.
It was it's an impact, I think it's an impact study
Okay.
of the
Which
semiconductor.
I won't be here, but.
Alright.
Yeah, economic impact study.
He
Okay.
doesn't furnish the plates or utensils, doesn't finish the pies and everything. That 14's awful high, that gets about 17 now, 18.
Did everybody show up for the Thanksgiving?
No, probably not everybody, but, I mean, with what some people took home, to their families, and
Some of it pressed it down in brisket.
we did make a few.
Did you get any brisket?
Yeah, me.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think it is.
We gotta keep beating it for a little while.
Anyway, we did make a few adjustments, because we had a little extra potatoes left over that we probably could cut, and then maybe knock off a can of beans. So we tried to know what we did this year and kind of go forward.
But really on the meat, there wasn't
The
hardly.
meat, we were right on with
Right
the
on the
meat.
meat.
Yeah. So,
I think you had, what, 2 salads or 2?
oh yeah, and we cut back the
Yeah,
salad.
well, I've got these, but you don't have to say.
And see, I think we cut the salad a couple years ago, and then we ran out of salad, so then I put it back up, and now we had it too much in, so, you know.
Did he do the salads, or we had it?
I had Hoovers do them.
See, that's another two.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, same to you.
Thank you, Tom.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
Dispersion, 3 years, 40, that's what.
Happy birthday. No,
Yeah.
get to your doctor at 4.
Well, it's, yeah.
Tom, take care of that.
See you later.
Take care of yourself, Tom.
Thanks.
Caprock makes pretty good money on those bonds,
Yeah.
5% for probably an everyday service. Probably take a computer and plug it in and go with it. Gee, Christmas. Estimator 278, I remember talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Same reason they want it paid for.
Buy some of that equipment, takes a few nickels, doesn't it? They allow 40, about 45,000.
Well, that's what I was, on the insurance deal, you know, some of the values that was on there for like a 2007 road grader, you know, what did they give allowance on that road grader?
45.
You know, and I know there's several road graders, 07, 08s, that was at 75,000.
This here was an excavator, but it'd be,
Yeah, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, might be valuing them too much, you know,
Well,
which is driving up your premium.
of course, what that trade-in is and what we'd have to pay to replace it, of course, we'd probably buy a new one if we had one burn up or whatever.
Right.
There'd probably be a difference in those two figures, I
And
suppose.
I bet going to a $10,000 deductible
Will change.
will change.
Yeah, there, and, you know, and I don't wanna say that the county's flush with money, but, I mean, we're good. And there's no reason blowing that premium out when, for a what if, right, you know?
Yeah, not when we can.
And to Wade's point, maybe, you know, we probably should take a look at the older vehicles, at some of the older vehicles and just, if possible, pulling them off. And if,
Well,
they'll get together with Brian or Adam or whoever.
obviously it'd be bad if you had a terrible hailstorm or something and lost a bunch of them all at once.
Yeah.
But the odds of that,
Pretty small.
You know, we've got, I had a friend of mine slash insurance agent who was my agent at the time. He had a weak moment, and he told me that if it won't put you out of business to lose it, you shouldn't be insuring it.
Exactly.
And I thought, oh boy, that's kind of different than you normally tell me there. But, you know, it costs a lot to have full coverage.
It does.
Learn to speak a little Spanish, Wade, you pick up some extra.
Yeah, you know,
There's $360.
All I've ever learned is no habla español.
You're
in a couple words that shouldn't be shared here, probably. That's the only thing I've
you're
ever
leaving
learned.
some money on the table.
Yeah, yeah. They'd have some funny looks on their faces if I was doing the interpreting.
It'd be kind of cool though to be bilingual like that.
Oh, I sure wish I was. I wish
I-
that's something I would have paid more attention. I took
Yeah, we-
Spanish in school, but
We didn't have
all I
nothing,
remember.
we didn't have anything like that in school.
We had Spanish in school, but
I just remember what girls sat in front of me. That's really all I remember about Spanish class. Well, yeah,
you
no,
remember what's important. right?
well, yeah, I could, you know, at the last day of the class, we had a day where we, you know, I learned the greeting words and stuff like that. And if I heard a few of those, I'd get polished back up on that, but it didn't stick too good. There was 54 in our class. My twin sister is valedictorian, and that's what I always said. She was valedictorian, and I was in charge of party festivities.
I think we kinda had the same kind of schooling.
I know I did.
You graduated from Burlington, Wade?
I did.
What year was that?
77. It was a great year, I'm here to tell you.
That's 16 years later.
Now, there was a voucher in there for Sandcrest, and I wanna say it was 9,000.
The what?
There was a voucher, voucher number 800-884.
For who?
Sandcrest. It's for the trailer, the road and bridge pot.
Yes, I
I
saw,
said 19,000.
Yeah, but I thought it said on the voucher 9,000.
No,
It said 19?
yes.
Okay.
On the backside, there was 2 bids that came in, and they accepted the left-hand bid,
Uh-huh,
and it showed 19.
okay. Okay, well, I just wanted.
It's got a pink, it's got a small, I don't
I just
recall.
saw it just a little bit ago.
Yeah, it just came through. But it's got an invoice on the backside of it. And it was highlighted in a different color, pink or blue or something. It hadn't been too old far back.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wouldn't have been on the voucher, it would have been on the big sheet. It has everybody's,
Yeah.
everybody has to sign is what I'm thinking of. It wasn't a voucher, it was the original full signature sheet. I'll come over there here in a second. See if I can find it. Yeah. It's all right, I'll find it. So I was thinking it was 9,000, and I thought that check was for, I thought the bid was for like 19,000.
Yeah, it is, I think it shows 19 on it. Here, I can help you.
I have them too. Just about,
This is the last one.
okay,
I got a question on it.
okay.
Angie, here's one, goes back to when Bobby was here, probably $16,300 to, KU Center for Research.
The economic impact study, Garrett Nordstrom's also in that email.
Having trouble getting a payment, Bobby Skipper, but have had trouble securing payment. I hope that you'll be able to assist me. Thank you for the breakdown. I'm going to speak to Garrett and to be back in touch. It has 55 unit hours, and below your breakdown, that's 34 and a half hours. Can you email the actual work that was done? This is the Burlington Economic Impact Analysis, the Kansas Semiconductor Manufacturing Consortium. That ain't right, but it's close. And I will be honest, I did not recall authorizing this building. That was Bobby Skipper. Can you email a copy of the report and also anytime stamps correspondence on this issue so I can evaluate? Please forgive me, this is an unexpected billing. Bobby disagrees. He didn't agree. Our company helped your staff providing some of the document needed to prepare, complete, and report on Kansas Semiconductor Manufacturing Consortium. However, the client is Coffee County Economic Development. I have passed this along. I'm not too sure we had an obligation to evaluate, but there's.
I'm done signing.
Well, I can call and try to find out some information.
Well, this one deal's November the 12th, 04, or 24. This is May 14th, 24. May 21st, this is going back 6 months, Angie. And Bobby Skipper doesn't appear to be, that the county approved it, or to be liable. So I guess we need to have you do some investigating.
Okay.
Rhonda
Oh,
signed
okay,
off on
that's
it.
what I was looking at, okay, all right.
Did it show 19?
Yeah, yep, it did. Good job.
Rhonda signed off on it November the 18th.
That's what I was looking at.
And then she's got one, never got it.
I just saw that she signed it, so.
It looks like there's quite a bit of dispute on owing it.
I would probably get a hold of Garrett, Nordstrom,
I will.
would be the step one.
This one invoice here, or one letter, is stating data analysis 34.5. Another one is we owe 20.5, which is 14 hours difference. This is $16,000 invoice.
Is that the grant? Is that the grant guy?
No, Garrett, it's an economic impact study
Oh, okay, okay.
that was apparently performed by KU.
Goes all the way back to May. Your billing has 55 unit hours, and our below your breakdown has 34.5, and that was from Bobby Skipper, so they got 20 hours difference, but that can't be 16,000, that's $400 an hour. Probably need to call Garrettson and maybe even talk to Billy,
Bobby.
Bobby.
Yeah, I will do some checking on it.
I went ahead and signed it, so I guess I'll leave it signed.
We can pull the voucher out and,
Yeah.
or the payment out.
It's gonna be on,
Very top.
it's gonna be on the very top.
Okay. I'll get it.
They're all, those all go.
And that one.
We didn't know the government stopped paying much money for things. This is your Tom. This Bill, he missed
Tom
all.
wasn't, he wasn't here when we signed these last
Missed
ones.
all.
Going to your dad's for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Make your son happy.
Yes. He loves being in the country.
Yeah, we got Thanksgiving at our house.
His grandbaby's coming over.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'll put them in the dog pen, corral them a little bit.
Are they two now?
A little over two,
A little
yeah.
over two?
Yep.
Boy, that's a pretty active time.
All wheels. Wear me out.
Can you shut your trucks down for Thursday, Friday?
Yeah. Yeah, well, definitely Thursday.
We're having two turkey deals, one for, on Thursday's only about 12 of us. Cause they gotta work, some of them's gotta work Saturday and Sunday, but our daughter's hosting the big one on Saturday, so.
Yeah, ours will be Thursday, and then everybody can leave, eat. We'll have to hang out Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Recover.
Yeah.
Well, anybody got anything else? Speak now or forever hold your peace. We get to adjourn, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
And you also.
Yes, everyone.
Everybody.
And, we'll adjourn at 12:48. Gobble, gobble, gobble. We're off.
Is that yours down there?
Yes, it is. That's